and we are live at Montreal, the MIGS, right now in snowy Montreal today. I'm with Simon from Scavenger Studios. How are you doing, man?
It was not part of the question that were supposed to be asked. I am in a production crunch. I am as happy as someone can be given this reality.
Yeah, well, how many hours are you doing right now? That's not part of the questions too, so you won't answer.
Honestly, when you're really in a production crunch and you're as obsessed as I am, pretty much 24 hours 7. Because even when I dream, I still continue to fix issues.
It's just the problem is you need to do it again. Not in your dreams, you need to do it again.
Yeah, but once it's solved, it's easier.
Yeah, it's easier. Well, it's
toilet is also a very good place to fix problems.
All right, so we're gonna see your game today. It's called Darwin Project. What's the origin of the project?
Okay, so for those who don't know our game, basically, in case you heard nothing of it, it's a battle royale. It's basically Hunger Games, the games. Before telling you the origin, I will tell you what it's not.
All right.
What the origin is not is, because everyone believes so, we're not an attempt to capitalize on battleground success. I put emphasis on that because even at E3, right? 2 months after Battleground was released, there were journalists. So keep in mind, 2 months after Battleground was released.
Yeah, so that's not enough to do a
so journalists would say, "So is it your take on the Battleground game?" And it's like, "Yes, we're freaking fast and efficient. We built this freaking motherfucking game in 2 months. Like I built the team, got the budget." And it's not even the same art direction or gameplay, but man, we're so fast.
Yeah, it's the same. It's like when people are comparing our games to Dark Souls. It's the Dark Souls of those games. Yeah. So it's not.
No, what
PUBG.
It is actually is.
Yeah.
So it's funny because what led to this happening is completely different to what it has become. But basically, I'm really passionate about game design, and I am always seeking what new can you create with this media. So the first thing is I realized how much value you could extract from human emotion in reality show. Just like watching people interact with each other makes everyone, it captivates everyone's emotion. And video game has actually nothing of this. It does not use this value. It does not generate anything with that. This was my first thing. Second thing is Daisy. So Daisy, one of the features is the voice chat and permadeath.
Yeah.
And I was actually tortured psychologically in this game. And there was a guy...
So they were using your emotions against you?
At least it created a scenario where I felt like psychological abuse in the middle of the thing. So I was, okay, so there's a glimpse of this in a video game. Maybe you could explode it. Third thing is Twitch plays Pokemon.
Yeah. Yeah.
This made me realize that you could actually connect people from the audience and have them be part of the show. And the cherry on the top was Hunger Games.
Yeah.
So Hunger Games is it kind of puts all of it together into a very flesh concept that everyone knows about. And we thought, okay, let's make Hunger Games the games. And this is exactly what it is right now. Even in my craziest dream, I could not believe we would actually reach this goal, but we have made this battle arena. There's 10 contender. It finishes when there's only one person left alive. There is proximity-based voice chat. There's a show director who's in charge, just like the game master in the Hunger Games. He can control the arena. He can speak and give challenge and troll the player. And just that, so we are far from the psychological torture that I had in mind and this kind of show. But we have a lot of it just because of the nature of the game and the fact that there's a show director. And you know what? I was very stressed with the show director because it makes the game unbalanced.
Yeah, because you give too much power to a single person, right?
One person can mess with your life. So you kind of need to accept this reality. But actually, we made a first alpha 3 weeks ago, and it was universally acclaimed as the coolest feature. So
that's cool.
It seems like people want this to be cool. So and then you have the spectator interactions. So we even made this feature. It's not complete on Twitch, but we made the first prototype on Mixer.
All right.
So that the show director can ask the crowd, okay, who should be the target of the manhunt, and then the crowd can vote in real time, and this happened directly in the game.
So it's basically like the sponsor system from Hunger Games, I guess. Like, but you put targets on a single player or something like that.
Thank you. This was what I forgot to say.
That's cool. That's cool. Because I read everything that you send us. Can you speak about the development a little bit?
So it all started 2 years ago. I was alone with my girlfriend in a kitchen in Hochelaga.
La zone Oma, pour ceux qui sont ici.
And I was kind of obsessed with this idea for already like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And we had this interesting, unique idea of what if we make it so that 100% of the team is fucking badass. Like we recruit only like badass developers. And it might sound like normal, but it's actually not natural, because when you're alone and you have nothing, you feel a bit compelled to kind of get whatever wants to help you.
Yeah.
But we just took the decision to not, because like we wanted this thing to be a commando.
Yeah.
And in a commando that wants to innovate and create something that was never done, you need like just the best of the best. If there's only one fucktard in the commando, it really fucks the whole commando, right?
Yeah. So it's an elite squad of developers, right?
Yes, and it's badass. Seriously, just that. It really refined my vision of development process.
Yeah.
Now process are not really needed that much anymore. They're still there. But the idea is that for the first time in my game development career, whatever we discuss and we want to make happen is always too much above the expected result I have in mind. In other words, every single thing is actually cooler than what I thought when we designed it. So it's
cool.
kind of, it's amazing, man. It's the first time I see it, and it's also why I am so hyped.
Yeah.
The game is much cooler than what I thought it would be. So
that's great.
But the bad side is that I am not particularly good in video games. So they are all fucking better than me, and it creates a development context where I get my ass kicked every single day, multiple times a day. So it's kind of double-edged sword.
Yeah, so that's part of the development, is kicking your ass, right?
I will make a single-player game next time. I can tell you so much.
They're gonna beat you with the ice cores then. It was well received. It was well received in E3, I think, right?
It's not exactly true.
No.
It's okay. I will.
That's what it said on the paper. But all right. So what? How it was received at E3 then?
No. But honestly, the E3 was amazing for us.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it was the idea that we would bring on stage this live caster, because we wanted to pitch this idea of the show director. We wanted to introduce this new role that there's a guy who's God, basically, and can control the arena and make his own show.
Because that, I think it's the first time that I've seen such a thing in those kind of games.
Yeah, we invented this concept, and to kind of try to explain it in a 30-second clip did not work, like no one ever got. And it actually felt in the current context where esports are emerging so much that Microsoft was actually trying to force feed this, because it felt like there was this over-the-top caster who was putting too much emotion for what was happening, and it felt off. So yes, it gave us.
So it sounded fake, basically.
It sounded like, we will convince you this is an esport.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Like, it's too much pressure on that segment of the game, yeah.
We made all the top cringe moment of E3, so that gave us a lot of visibility. But on the other hand, actually what it made also is it branded us as Microsoft is behind us. Actually, there was even articles saying, so Microsoft has deployed its answer to Overwatch, and we're like, yeah. We're the contender to Overwatch.
Yeah.
It's like, no, but what I mean is people associate us with Microsoft, and it's a really cool thing because it gives us a lot of credibility, but also tons of pressure, because now people will expect AAA level, and now we're kind of in this match, and we're trying to...
But you're badass developers, so it's gonna be
This is why the badass takes all its sense.
Why.
Now. We need to fucking make it count.
So why are we here today? Like, we're doing a tournament, but why here in the MIGS?
So we wanted to run the Olympic Stadium, but it felt like it was still too early.
Yeah, maybe.
So
The roof is not completed right now, so.
Oh really?
I
How much
think-
would it cost?
I don't know yet.
So anyway, the idea is that, so we went also at the DreamHack, and you know what, we're building, I'm a bit patriotic,
Yeah.
and we're building the game here, so I thought, okay, let's grow the core community here, so that when it becomes huge,
Yeah.
the most badass player, like the best player, are from here. So we want to kind of start building this idea that those guys are the future champion, and when the game will become larger, like the top guys will always
They're
be from
gonna be
here.
in Montreal at the Olympic Stadium.
Also, side bonus, the chair are amazing.
Yeah, the chairs. I was talking about the chairs earlier. I want one of
man.
those. I want the orange
Can I
one.
sit a bit later? Or?
Yeah, sure. We're all gonna be able to try the chairs. So we got 8 players right now. We got 8 here. We got 2 online. I think we got one from United Kingdom, and the other one I don't know where it's from.
Washington.
Washington D.C.
Okay, I'll
so-
tell you something
Yeah,
about
sure.
about these contenders. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably the officially best player is Bloody Marrow.
right.
He's also part of the dev team. He's
And
game
he's
designer.
he's not playing right now.
He won't win though. He
All
won't win because he cannot stand the pressure. So technically,
Is it trashed out right now?
no. I'm stating simple facts. He is the best player, but he will not win because of the pressure. I'm just saying that, right? So anyway, no, he's really great. He kind of it's good to have a very. I think he was a semi-competitive pro at Counter Strike,
cool.
and he kicked our ass. So the reason why I'm trolling him is because he caused so much pain in my life.
That's why.
He is so much better than I am. But at the same time, it's good to have such a competitive player in your
Yeah.
team because anything you put something slightly broken, he just put it in your face like again and again
Yeah,
until you fix it.
you're gonna realize that either it's too broken or like you need to
Yeah.
push up your
You think
skills.
that 30-second force field is good? Okay, I'll show you how good it is. Okay, see, you want to keep it 30 seconds? Okay, I'll keep showing you. You think that arrow doing 300 damage is good? Okay, I'll show you. It's like, okay, perfect.
That's cool. All right, so we're gonna switch.
Before we
Yeah,
start,
sure,
I
go-
just
go
want
ahead.
to present all the players.
Yeah,
So
all right.
guys, you will participate a bit in the show by just saying your name
I'm gonna go
and
with
a
the names.
one-liner about whether or not you think you will win. Or whatever you want to say to this huge crowd. It's
All right, so right now is the time to trash talk, guys. So if you want to, all right. So, all right. What's
So-
your name?
okay.
My in-game name? Biffer. And I probably won't win, but I will have fun.
The fun is part of the game too, so that's good.
Hey, I'm Sue, and terrible luck to everyone else.
Cool.
I'm Vanirien. I haven't played much, but that means my win rate is amazing.
My name is Vasily, and I'm gonna win because I play all day. That's all I do, and I'm the best out there.
Yeah.
I'm Kovac, and I haven't played since that first alpha, so I'm looking forward to seeing the changes. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck. Have fun.
It's Zul, and I don't think I will win.
My name is Flicky, and ZQ, I got my eyes on you.
And I'm going in the shadows.
Hey, I'm Solbo, and I'm definitely here to win, so watch out, Vaseline.
All right. So, yeah. Oh, I forgot the. Oh, yeah. You can applause. Come on. And I think we got the last player here.
No, unfortunately I can't play.
Oh, he can't play then. But so we're gonna start. I think we're gonna start with just like a practice game, two practice games. So we're gonna do that. Afterwards, we're gonna have the tournament. So, guys, have fun. Breaknecks. Godspeed. I don't know. And we're gonna be live with the guy. It's the shoutcaster is actually in Edmonton right now. So Jetro Tool, it's up to you.
May the second better player win.
Deep down, you know there are no masters, no audience.
Okay, it looks like we're ready to finally start this party up as we get ready for the 10th player to get into the room. That will actually set off the trigger for the timer, and everything should be good to go at that point. There's usually about a multi-second countdown once he pops in, giving everybody a chance to go over their crafting wheel, pick out their powers, etc., etc. And all of it will be definitely put in. But let's get our 10th player involved, and we can get moving. This is going to be practice round number 1 of a 2-game series before we start the tournament itself. Tournament itself is going to be of a rather interesting type. Of course, we're going to hold you in suspense on that as well. But right now, I'm being held in suspense. I'm looking for that 10th player. And once he starts, then we can start. I really, really, really like the idea that people squat in front of me. I think I'm going to squat in front of this guy for a while. I mean, who doesn't like to squat? It works out your legs and everything else. And if you're going to get, you got to exercise a little bit. You got to warm up. A lot of running is going to happen this time. Running around as a prisoner. Keep those legs strong. Keep those arms strong. Keep that axe in your hand.
On display in a museum.
Just like that, you'll get the survival skills you need. However, this area does provide some practice. Players are able to shoot at these little bulbs going up all over the place. As the arrow game is a very large thing indeed. If you can pick off a player from a good distance, it really makes a big difference. And yeah, I mean, it sounds like an obvious thing, but boy, oh boy, the archery game, that's a skill set indeed. All right, so the countdown is on. All 10 players are involved. Last chance to go through the crafting wheels, and good luck to all players in this tournament.
First time playing?
This is going to be game number 1 of a 2-game series of practice rounds before we get into the main tournament. And so I guess it's a good way to get rid of any reasons you might think you got to warm yourself up. And with that, let's get started.
Good luck, have fun.
And everybody's wishing good luck. First things first, we're going to start off right in front of Solbo. Everybody who starts off the game starts off next to a tree or some resources, but the resources themselves are more or less randomly scattered throughout the entire map. There are 3 main resources to worry about. We're talking about wood, we're talking about leather, and we're talking about the much vaunted electronics. Wood is obviously those trees, and it's only the trees that are outlined in blue that'll give you 1 wood. The chair, which you were seeing getting picked up right there by Hitzel, that is worth 1 leather. Those 2 combinations, the wood and the leather, allow the players to build basically almost everything in the game. I'm talking about arrows for that bow of theirs. How about a campfire? Maybe better boots, a coat. It doesn't really matter, though, because at the end of the day, it's a pure tactical game. It's the choices you make of what you build that will do it. Now, take a look here in the bottom left-hand corner, and I'm talking about this bit right here. You can see the resources of the player. Now, as the director, we got full access. We can see everything that is going on here. They get nothing at all. We got the hit bars. We got the map here in the bottom corner. This is our full layout, and everybody's randomly put in this 7-tile map that is slowly going to shrink as time goes on. Let's switch over really quickly. I wonder what Beffer might be up to. How about this? He's up on the top picking up himself a loot box and getting a smoke bomb. Those loot boxes will basically produce something that you can create with the raw resources, although sometimes you might get a couple leathers, sometimes you might get a couple trees, and if you're really lucky, you might find yourself with that piece of electronics, which we'll get into once it actually shows itself in the game. Now, you see that the moose are running around as well. That can also be picked up. You've got to take them down with an arrow because they will flee from you. However, if you're sneaky enough, you can take them out with an axe. All players start on the exact same level. You've got 1 axe and a bow without any arrows whatsoever. And it is cold. All players have to worry about their health for that matter. This blue bar right here is the individual player's cold level. That's his stamina in the white, and then this is all the hit points. All players have 600 hit points, and I'm just going to warn everyone right now watching or playing this game, it is difficult to stay healthy. If you get injured, you get wounded, there's very limited options to heal yourself up. As a matter of fact, there's really only one, the health pack. You got to find it. You got to use it. Gets you only 150 hit points, though. So when you go into combat in this game, you really got to make sure you are cautious about going into combat in a way that gives you the best chance you can. We're talking about surprise attacks. Now, speaking of surprises, you may notice that we're leaving tracks behind as we go around here, and that does change things up. Let me back up here right away, and you can see for yourself that this player here is leaving tracks wherever he goes, and those tracks do stick around for a while. Every single time he goes and cuts down a tree, every time he goes and gets a loot box, every time, oh, look at this, we got some combat going on out here right away. Solbo taking a swing in that face, and it does manage to knock him off. You connect somebody with the axe or the arrow, you do get some knockback on that. And here's some archery game coming in now as Kolbeck, little bit of trouble here. Arrow point blank, doesn't take it in the face, lodges in the rock instead, and that's going to knock him down. Kolbeck went down, and that is a loot box in its own right. Whatever the other guys get, you can actually take a portion of that as a reward for getting it. So yes, again, surprise attacks and then gathering those resources. Early game on, the guy didn't have too much. So it actually benefits you more in a certain sense. And there's a lot of people there's a lot of people that will hide almost. They'll wait back and relax. They'll let other people get their combat done, and then they'll try to come out themselves. But the name of the game is to get as much as you can get done. Hang on a second here. The name of the game is to get as much as you can in terms of these resources to build yourself up. And look at the stuff you can build. That crafting wheel up there does give the options to build armor. Now that armor is in yellow, bottom corner, this little bit right here. If you craft the armor, it takes 3 wood, 3 leather. It basically affords you a single strike without taking any damage. In other words, it's preventive maintenance against a surprise attack. As the map gets shorter, it is going to get uglier. But look at this. We've got, I believe, a piece of electronics now sitting right in the middle. Big old blue bar going up there as it randomly does get placed down. The electronics is a dangerous thing to go after because it takes a while to craft. And as the players don't know where the other players are, typically, it's really, really good opportunity to get a surprise attack on your opponent in these environments. But once you attain an electronic, then you got the crafting abilities of those bottom wheels. Look at that. He's got 3 options of his own that he picked earlier in the game. And among those options, it looks like he's going to grab himself the cloak. Anything you build with the electronics is a reusable item that has a multi-second refresh rate on it. And you can see here, it looks like he's crafting various things that were red outlined. This is evidence against another player. There's a tracking element to this. And I did talk about before how whenever you open up a loot box and cut down a tree, that it leaves behind that tree stump, the open box. If somebody else goes up there and you're still in the game, they can click on those items, and by doing so for a brief moment, they know exactly where you are and how long it was since you actually opened up that particular item or cut down that particular tree. So where you go, you're going to want to be cognizant of. I'm telling you right now, as it gets closer, as the map gets smaller, players are going to be wanting to be careful about even crafting, because every time you build something, whether it's an arrow, whether it's an armor, whether it's an anything, you leave behind pieces of evidence. A little toolbox gets left there, and anybody can click on that and take up the win. We are grinding along nicely over here with only 1 particular player done. Sorry, 2 done. Let's go over to Vaseline and see where he's at. And now notice, as the director, we got some powers of our own. Down in the bottom bar, you can see what I get to play with. I can close down a random tile. I can nuke something. And you know what? I'm in an ornery mood here early on. Let's get things started. I'm going to go ahead and nuke this place, because it seems like a good idea. So let's go take a look at what Nuke does here. This is going to be Beffer we're looking at right now, and he's known full well he's got to get the hell out of Dodge. Same goes with number 6, that's Sue. 27 seconds left to go. He's going to take a bit of a gamble on this, getting himself that electronics. May I say that is a worthy gamble to make, but get yourself out of there as soon as you possibly can. Around the map itself is actually teleports. You can see the little nubs there on each tile on the outer edge. If a player makes it to that, they'll be able to beam themselves out. But I'm getting a little bit nervous for Sue over here as he is still in the tile. There's our teleport portal over there. How much do you want to bet he's going to risk it? He's going to risk it in a loot. You silly bugger. Look at this. This is not safe. This is what happens when you let a director up to his own devices. That's okay, though. Sue knows better. He boomed himself out of the area, and he is now technically safe. Although those teleports, that's certainly a way you can actually trap somebody. And yes, planting traps is an element to this game. That's the right-hand column of the crafting wheel that you can see there. Looks like he's going to build himself a bear trap. Traps, once placed, are very, very difficult to see. Unlike most games, they actually work in this one. People can go around, plant the traps right at the doorways of cabins. They can go around corners in the middle of combat if they can find a way to hide long enough. These are the different methods by which you can actually go ahead and defeat your enemy. Now, if everybody starts off even, and if everybody can craft the same types of things, then it really reduces the random number generation aspect that you get in a lot of other titles. And more of the effort has to go towards your own skill. You got to make your decisions for the moment, and then when combat comes down, you've got a general idea of what the other side can and cannot do. Of course, with a couple of tweaks going on. Look at this. Fleeky looks like he's getting anxious about something. Just popped off somebody in the head, and now a smoke bomb was let go. That's why we're seeing we got some fog over there. Now, the headshot is obviously going to do a little bit more damage on the arrow front, and it is harder to get, but it's a great way to get things started. As Fleeky knows he's got an opponent right around him, but does not know where. A little bit close on the back end. Let's back over. This is point blank Banrine getting it right in the belly at 150 axe damage. And look at Fleeky running back as he goes to get that shot away. And a little bit of chicken combat also works. You want to try to bring somebody into a position that perhaps is a bit more defensible. This is a good way to do it. That red outline, by the way, is an indicator that the closing of a tile is occurring on the other side. Now, the tile being closed doesn't mean you can't go in there. It simply means that the temperature has dropped. Things are very cold all the time, and you are constantly getting colder. Getting caught in one of these tiles that are actually closed off is ugliness, because you're going to freeze right away, and if you freeze, you're going to freeze to death. That's you out of the game. Combat continuing here, and you'll notice earlier there's a snowball getting flung out. We'll talk about that in a bit as 255 or 25 damage went on to Fleeky. Fleeky takes it in the gut, and that is going to do it. Bannerine, after a rather lengthy combat, is going to be enjoying one heck of a pile here. 5 wood, 7 silver, raw resources that he can use to build up everything in the game with the exception of those electronics. You can never get enough leather. You can never get enough wood, believe me. Let's go over and see what's happening on in the world of Vaseline. He may be slippery, but he's actually doing pretty good over here. Taking a look at his stats on the bottom corner, you can see he's got a level 2 axe. He's doing a little bit faster or harder on the damage. He's got himself a better armor, and he's got himself, what is it, level 2 boot speed. So he's going to be running faster as well. Speed is definitely an aspect of this game. You don't need it, just like everything else. I've seen players be able to kill off people with full equipment, full armor, full everything, just by playing smart. Hide in the bushes, hide your tracks, hit and run, get out of the way, dodge, weave, and bow, and just like that, you got yourself taken down a virtual end boss when you had next to nothing yourself. Although really, if you've got next to nothing by the time you're at this stage when somebody's a boss, you got issues. Vaseline just used up one of his electronics, and look at this! He just took a dump going into the lava. Vaseline, risky play by Vaseline right there, going into the drink. Oh, man. And we watched that, too. You're never going to live that down now, you realize. How about we take a look at Befford? Better yet, let's go over to ZQ. ZQ now in a forbidden zone. Things are getting ugly, so guess what? I'm going to make it a little bit uglier for him by closing off this zone right here. Now take a look at him. ZQ.
Zeke was
yeah, he's already chatting about that. So he's trapped out in the corner here, right in this part of the map in closed areas. He's got some decisions to make, but I think he might just get caught when it's all said and done. Let's wait for the drama to unfold on that as we go over to Hitzul. And let's see how Hitzul is doing. He's got himself a maxed out axe. Now, the type of axe he decided to go with is one that'll allow you to harvest the wood and the leather a lot faster, as well as craft a lot faster. And there's a lot to be said about being able to get stuff with Japanese level efficiency, man. If you can craft and if you can harvest really quickly, you can go across that map that much faster. You get that much more done. You get that much more resources. And so when you go into combat, you may not have decided to go with something that does more damage or perhaps helps you in other tactical ways, but you're going to be that much more built up when combat actually does occur. Smoke bomb tossed out, but didn't work out too well as we got Solbo breaking armor. Let's go take a look at where he's at over here. And it doesn't look like yet he's near too many. As a matter of fact, the 4 remaining players a fair distance away from each other on these 3 remaining tiles. And these 3 remaining tiles are going to shrink ever more, either by way of the director action or by way of the bot. But you know what? Let's get funky here. I think what I'm going to do... Ooh, you know what? Save my points. How about we wait for the end on that gravity storm and instead, yes, we're going to close that, so let's close this too. All right, so messing with people's lives is what I enjoy doing, and I'm glad you're seeing me do it as we got Solbo in a little bit of a sticky situation over here, going in from one closing tile to another closing tile. He's got a lot of miles to cover right now, and that is dangerous because he's bypassing a lot of the resources he could get, and he may find himself trapped. There are players that will see the situation, and they may not know that anybody's coming, but they might. There are ways to actually find out where things are at. When you go into a cabin, for instance, many cabins have that red circular map that you can see right there. That tells the player the exact same information that is in the bottom left that we can see. It's a little bit of the brief chance to find out how omnipotent you are. But yes, we've got ourselves basically down to one tile. That last piece of electronics was there. Let's go take a look now at Beffer. Beffer rolling along over here, going very close to that new piece of electronics, and a red outline tells him where things are at. He's got an idea where Hitsul is and will know for the next several seconds exactly where he's at. So it's a means of safety, it's a means of hunting. If you are a tracking type of individual, you can get specialized boots by selecting them in the beginning of the game, so that way when you are tracking someone, you get a speed boost to get to him faster. In the same vein, you can also choose boots that make it more difficult for you to be tracked. You don't go invisible or anything like that, unless, of course, you have a piece of electronics to make it happen. But there are different techniques out there over and above just the usual in-game attacks to find a way to get the lead on your opponent. Players are getting smashed into a very small area right now, and it looks like Beffer and Beffer and Zatul are going to be doing this thing over here. Look at this cabin combat, right point blank. 3 strikes, you're out. Look at that. Beffer goes down immediately. And he was the one who started that fight. Good job by Hitsul. Let's go over to Solbo now, and you can see the implosion there in his background. That was the beginning of an electronic being planted down. It is right on the border of the map, but I don't think it's going to matter much. The walls are now closing in as we are now in sudden death in this game. This final tile is going to get smaller and smaller, forcing people into a situation where they have no choice but to fight. Hiding is over. But for those of you who know what I was talking about earlier with the traps and stuff like that, now is also a very interesting time to take a look at that. Deploying the traps does take some time. People do see you doing it, and the traps aren't totally invisible. But anybody who can dominate the final area in the last tile definitely does have an advantage over their opponents. Let's move over to Hitsul. And yep, there he is. Exactly what I was talking about right there. Planting down the good stuff against his opponents as we are shrinking down to a small stuff. Hitsul looking for domination over here as he puts himself in a smoke bomb. Now, I don't know if I'd be doing that. Going into a tent like that, we've seen what happens when you go into a cabin. It gets close combat like that, and this is one particular situation where it's going to be right point blank. The other guy can escape, but you can't. And look at this invisibility now coming into impact. That's going to be responded to by a warp. ZQ going over Hitsul and Solbo. These 3 players now stuck in the last remaining meters of space that they can use for freedom in this incredibly cold environment. Let's go quickly to Solbo. Solbo's on the back end as Hitsul is there right in the back. Didn't even see that coming, and now we're down to a pair. It's ZQ and Solbo. Where are we at with Solbo? Nice play right off the top as he goes off the higher level, trying to look for a tactical advantage, harvesting stuff. Look at this. He got himself 20 arrows, 2 speed packs. He got a warm pack. This guy's ready for combat, and combat is commencing right now for the remainder of this game. We got a final piece of electronics. Very dangerous to get, given how close things are at. But these 2 are right next to each other, and it looks like one just might have the jump on the other. Nice shot right there. 200 damage on the head. And ZQ's going to bounce himself off of that center tile to try to get himself some distance. And then get ready. Look, you see him crafting. He doesn't know he's being looked at right now. Another shot going on, and now perhaps it's time to bust out the axes. As these 2 players looking for a way to get through. Solbo's got full health. ZQ down about 200, so they're still relatively healthy. Can still handle at least a number of strikes before things start to fall apart completely. Waiting around that final piece of electronics that nobody dares get. Solbo and ZQ dancing the final dance of death in this practice round 1. There's going to be a practice round immediately after this one with the same players, of course. And then we're going to be getting ourselves onto the grand tournament. 3 rounds, rules of which will be announced when it starts. Here we are waiting in the background, and our recharge of the invisibility did come in handy, but he's got another 56 seconds before it'll even come back, so that's going to be problematic. How about we go back on the high ground over here? As you can see, the arrows being used to take out those traps. Smart play right there, and he's busting out his own traps, it looks like, but that's okay. Coming down and looking for a strike. Gets the 150. Now looking for a swing back, but the jumping is happening along with the dodging. Getting out of the zone, not bad, but it will cool you down, and that can be a factor as well. I cannot believe these 2 have been able to battle it out like this in such a tight space and not find a way to finale. Solbo now down to less than half hit points. He's in real trouble as the arrow's going back on the other side. ZQ finally taking some damage over here. But this last little bit has given him no space to hide whatsoever. Business has got to get done, and business just got concluded. ZQ, congratulations. You've won round number 1. This is Jethro Tull. We'll be right back.
forge an alliance with another player and become friends. Kill them, and then cherish their memory because they helped you win.
Get him. Wow. Good fight, Zeke.
Wow.
That's
I-
intimidation right there.
Dude, I looked at the rider, I said, oh shit, Zeke's coming, so I teleported away, but I fell right into the lava. You check on Discord, there's a clip on me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I made the clip right away.
Yeah, I was max gear. Dude, that's crazy.
If you somehow manage without killing anyone, you will be frozen.
All right, we're just waiting for round number 2 to get started of this second practice round between these 10 players before we start to take it a little bit more serious.
Already trash talk.
Hey.
And so we've already seen how ZQ was able to take out the top on that one after a rather lengthy final battle.
I don't know.
Players were able to smooth themselves out rather quickly at the beginning there, but yes, it's always a different engagement whenever these things go on. So we'll see how this works out this time around as we wait for player number 10
Like some guy hit me and broke my armor.
to get himself in here and we can start this thing. I'm anxious for this tournament to get rolling. I want to see who's going to get themselves that TV. I want to see what happens at the very end because I got a funny feeling we're going to see some absolutely silly tactics come into play.
Solbo, how many kills did you get?
Remember, dead players are not eligible for the winner position. If you're being killed, remember that death with dignity is less entertaining.
Zeke, by the way, I had the mobile app of Discord, so I saw you brag about the 2v1 kill.
God damn it. I don't brag about kills, dude.
Dude, it's going into compilation. Don't worry, the bragulation. We're gonna call it the brag.
You know, I think it's a polite thing for the show director while we're waiting for a game to get started to go up and down like this and act like one of those ducks so you can practice on your archery. That's what it's all about right there.
Expert of the sneaky brag.
Fill out your emergency
Oh really? I didn't.
Because that's what it's
I
all
didn't
about.
notice, that same
Get your
happened
practice
to me.
on.
Both of them. I don't know what's happening to you. You might want to put that in the bug report.
And so yeah, if you hold down the left shift to show your powers, it still shows that you hold left shift to use your powers. So I'm just gonna hold it down for a little while over here. Yeah, they're all kind of grayed out right now. It's because I got no point. There's no point to me. I don't exist yet. It's only when the game actually starts off
appears to be, please contact a complaint line.
that things start to get rolling. Good first round, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks.
Good practice.
It was shabby.
Doesn't
Not
mean
too
it's-
shabby, but it was shabby.
We're
Good
giving
show
it
directing.
confidence.
You closed the zone, like the one in the corner, so I had to back out. I had to go through the teleporter.
Yeah, we were following you on that. That was you did the right thing there for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Almost got the trap on basically.
That's the second time you've done this to me. 2 days in a row now. Oh jeez.
Directors can't be trusted, man. What can I say?
Yeah,
All
that's
against
totally fine.
director, all hail Zeke.
No. Can we try to kill the show director?
You can try to hit me. If you actually connect with an arrow, my screen goes gray. So consider me the moving target de jour. Ooh, that was close. Not quite. Yep. All right, somebody nailed me point blank, I think. I'm just going to guess that was most likely... Who that was? That probably Dead Pixel. Dead Pixel's the kind of guy that would probably pull off something like that.
Dead Pixel died. That's a shame, dude.
At least it was by somebody
Says
else.
you, says you who jumped into lava.
Okay, that was hilarious, by the way. Was that Vaseline that fell into the lava last game? Yeah.
Yes, that was.
Well done, man. We got to see that all the way
I
through.
clipped it on your channel. I even put a nice slow motion as he plunges.
Oh, man. You literally embodied the concept of Darwin right there. I'm proud of you.
No. I saved my honor instead of fighting against you.
Oh, okay. Try to keep it that way. Yeah, I did it intentionally. I like it.
If someone tries to climb onto one and fly out of the arena,
All right, let's wait for our 10th player to get in here and get moving on to round number 2. Straight up practice, boys.
I think he's having problem with his computer right now.
Oh, make him reboot 3 times and take away his keyboard. That'll help.
Yeah, but there's already someone looking at the computer.
I'm having problems with my computer too. Yeah, that's what happened last round.
Yeah, I would imagine it's fairly easy to find somebody knowledgeable in computers at the MIGS right now. Quick, anybody know how to format C?
Balls out my face, Vaseline.
The winner of the first practice round, for those asking in chat, that would be Zeke Q. I'm kind of not surprised, but I don't think he's going to win the tournament. My mental money is not on him.
Thanks for the
He's a newcomer to the game.
Although, having said that, I don't know who I'm favoring on this one. Although I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Vaseline.
Whoa.
If you are being killed, remember that death with dignity is less entertaining.
All right. Well, you know, I've got to say, I'm a huge fan of the of that teleport, of that jumper. You know, not teleport, but well, it is a teleport, really. It just kind of zooms you the hell out of the way. But now that I saw what I saw, I mean, I don't know what to say. Except that it
You know
happened.
what they should do? Instead of saying lava kill, they should now say Vaseline kill when you die into the.
Yeah, somebody Vaselined themselves.
We got Vaseline.
Spontaneous self-death into the drink. I like it.
I'll talk with the guy over here for you, Z.
All right, so I'm told that there's problems with one of the machines. We are patiently waiting for that. Hopefully it'll get resolved soon and we can get moving here into round number 2. Just out of curiosity, anybody there able to give me an idea what's wrong with said computer? Is it blue screen of deathing? Please say it is.
No, it's like the game's not loading.
Oh, that's weird. No stress either for the guy trying to fix it, hey? We're all just waiting here and everybody's watching. But that's okay. We're just going to continue to put pressure on you. Get working faster, damn it. I will say I liked Kobek in the last round.
Have you tried turning it on and off again?
Yes, reboot 3 times. I'm calling it. It's only on the 3rd reboot that it'll work.
Down, you know there are no masters, no audience, no game, only you and your weapons.
It's the best advice to give ever.
You will break apart.
He's rebooting right now.
Ah, okay. So that's reboot number 1?
We're at 5 right
Oh,
now.
wow. 5. It should totally be fixed by now.
Oh, looks like it's
just
fixed.
booting.
Never mind.
Just slowly rub the case as you're rebooting. That's usually what
Yes.
Slowly rub the case and tell him he's a good
Yes.
boy.
Perform like a ceremony of some type.
Yeah, let's all gather up around the computer.
Caress
You
the
can do
case.
it, boy.
What do you mean slowly? You gotta rub it like faster. You gotta cause friction, dude.
You have to give
You gotta warm it up.
I mean,
you gotta warm it
you
up.
do name your computers, right? This is how you do it? You know, come on, Susan, let's get to going here. If you don't name your computers,
Why
it's
a
trouble.
girl's name though?
So that way when it fails, you're like, come on, baby, I didn't mean to yell. I
Yeah.
know I lost that round bomb.
Why are you mad at me, Susan? Susan the computer. Or maybe it needs a spoiler on it so it can go faster.
Clear forest of trees for free. And anyone who says otherwise will attend a mandatory brain enhancement program.
Well, if everybody collectively puts their good mojo into it, I'm pretty sure it'll come back up and work once again.
Don't forget,
And yeah, baby. Let's whip around here. Somebody smack me in the face with an axe.
Your children can avenge your death in the digital computer.
It's more of a fetish.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's a very short-lasting fetish. Like, you can only enjoy that once, and then you don't ever enjoy it again. Can you actually hit me with the axe? I'm not seeing like I.
No.
Okay.
Second you get close to you, disappear.
Okay. Because I know you like I can get hit with the arrow, but.
Games on Facebook and Twitter for more information about the Darwin project.
Or you know, like Discord.
All right. Well, that computer is circling the drain. Let's circle around this map. Anybody watching right now, join in really through their website. Go to Scavenger Studio or join their Discord. I'm sure somebody there will be able to give you the link to that. Maybe a little friendly business card that's got the Discord link on it, so you have to go through the pain of manually typing it in. You'll get it wrong because you confuse the 0 with an O.
The Discord is discord.gg/Darwin.
See? Now, type that in quick, go. We got 27 seconds. Good to see Beffer is here. And good luck to all players.
Coming for you, Vaseline.
All right, I'm going to mute out my speaker. I don't want to be interrupting too much around here.
All right.
At least not
Good luck.
yet.
Have fun, everyone.
Except for Zeke, because you
Good
just
luck, everyone.
And so
don't
ZQ
Good
has
luck,
won the
everyone.
first game.
Everyone.
Don't Vaseline
Good luck.
yourself.
accept Zeke.
And let's go right off the top, starting with Benny Rain. Now, as I said before, all the players are able to get right off the top a couple of trees. You pretty much universally start that way. But then it kind of changes up. All the other resources are more or less randomly thrown out. So just like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get. But the random number generator isn't the type of thing that's going to wreck your life. Everybody is usually totally equally the same. As a matter of fact, the resources scattered out equally along the map guarantees it. Really good tip, though, is to get into the cabins as much as you possibly can. That's kind of where things get important around here.
Hello.
And we're just zipping around like a champ, because that's what champs do. Now, early on, I've got nothing to play with. Take a look here in the bottom. Yeah, it's like that. I got 2 action points to play with, but as time goes, I get more action points. Those action points I can use for the powers you see on the bottom of the screen. I ain't cocky enough to start busting out those yet. I don't see much of a reason for it. You can see running around here keeping the flashlight on, see what that does to things. I wonder if we're going to see ZQ do this again. If ZQ does this again and wins on the practice round, it's going to mess things up because we're going Swiss after this. And Swiss is where it be. How about Vaseline? When's he going to jump into the drink? Vaseline himself again, just like he did before. My God, that was so special. I'm going to have to go back, record that, put it into a thing, and do a thing with it. Never let the man live it down. Early combat now breaking out. Even Solbo getting knocked off that cliff, trying to come back for combat against Hitzul, and does manage to break the armor. And no hit points. Now it's 200 going on, followed up by another 150. 350 hit points. Ain't looking good on a total 600. And this one just might be over before it starts. Only 2 minutes into the game. Here we go, Hitzul. Get the man. There we go. 150 back on the other side. So right off the top, these two are going to be trading the strikes, which is going to be dangerous as it goes forward. Again, going into combat, you don't want to get hurt too bad. And that guy was leaving blood behind. So good job there, Solbo, taking out Hitzul, getting the first victory of the game. Got himself the resources, but at what a price is Solbo now down 150 hit points total out of the 600 that he's got. Now, I should say that you do heal up to the nearest 100 after a short while, but you do not actually heal up naturally all the way. And those health packs are oh so important, especially if you're the kind of guy who plays a very aggressive game, likes to go after other players, and try to take them out as quickly as you possibly can. This is Dead Pixel we're looking at here. And Dead Pixel is looking very much alive as he's got himself a level 1 harvester. His armor is looking good. Again, I'm referring to what's going on down here in the corner. This is his base resources. We can see it. Other players cannot. We've got the map. No players do. And so it's that ignorance in the game that creates a certain sense of panic. It makes you worry because you don't know if somebody's right around you. And if random drops, it's even worse. Most players are safe to assume that they've got, maybe a minute or two before somebody could possibly even beeline to him. So everybody does get a chance to get their bearings, get an idea where they're at. But at the end of the day, this map is an incredibly complex map. And it shows with gusto. And this very, very busy place, just saw a smoke bomb going off in the distance. That's dangerous if anybody saw it. Looks like somebody's got a plan. And that plan looks like it's Kobek. Let's go over here and see what he's up to. The man's busting out a coat, fur keeping him warm just a little bit. But each thing you build up, I'm talking about the coats, I'm talking about the axe, and I'm talking about the boots, have 5 levels to them. And so if you choose the axe sharpener capability, this individual here has the harvester one. Basically, as you go up in level, you do that particular thing faster. And if I'm not mistaken, the sharpening of the axe adds an additional 25 points of damage. We just saw a little bit of a bump up there as Kobek got startled. Looks like he's going to be okay, though, but things are getting a little bit nasty. Let's go take a look at Sue. Sue putting on the heat as he's getting cold damage. See, snowballs are dangerous in this game if you choose to use them. You can make an infinite amount without any resources, and if you hit your opponent, you freeze them. You make them a little bit colder. If you drop their body temperature, they're going to have a hard time surviving. But then, of course, you get this where an arrow just finishes off the job. And Kobek, may I say, I'm kind of thinking just might be the guy to do it. I've got a good feeling about this man. He's aggressive, and he's got snowballs. What a combination to work with. How about Zeke? Zeke zipping along here, getting close to the fort. Oh, wait, we might have some drama kicking in right on the other side of town as Zeke narrowly misses both a snowball and an arrow. That's Fleeky YT trying to pick him off, and did so. Look at that. Good job. 16 snowball freeze to Zeke Q, so Zeke just a little bit colder, and that is effective. Now, one thing that a lot of players do is they'll start their campfire, and because they got to warm up and it takes a couple of seconds, that's the time that they'll spend to actually build other things. Let's face it, as I said before, everything that you build in the game leaves behind evidence. So if you're going to set up a campfire, you're going to leave behind evidence because somebody can go back to that campfire now that once it's burnt out and find out where you've been. You can put out the campfire preemptively with a snowball, but the campfire itself will stay there. So if you got to leave evidence behind anyway, it kind of makes sense to leave it all in one pile. You don't want to leave a trail, you know? But look at this. A trap just got nailed. Fleeky looking to finish off the job. We're looking at this from the perspective of the bushes. Let's go to Fleeky over here, playing a very aggressive game right off the top against ZQ. ZQ startled by that. Snowball versus arrows. You'd think isn't a fair fight, but it's axes that are coming out now as these two going after it. Look at Zeke. Both of them trading damage straight up. Fleeky's in trouble. One more dead shot and he's toast. ZQ, on the other hand, is looking relatively healthy. So tactically speaking, we got to be careful. Yeah, forget careful. Just die. And that's exactly what happened. ZQ picking up the win there. Let's move over to Beffer. And Beffer off in the distance here. Looks like he's hanging out by the teleport, maybe thinking of a way he can get close to that one piece of electronic that is appearing on the far tile. We got one right here and one right here. Go up in there, harvest them, and you got yourself those extra capability goodness that we all know and love. Let's move over quickly. Take a look back at ZQ as he is maneuvering his way over towards that piece of electronics. And let's get our electronics on. Now, we can see what's happening. I don't know if he can. In the meantime, if drama's going to form, let's go over to take a look at Kobek. And Kobek is looking rather good as well. How's about the planet we call Banny Rain? Banny Rain doing a little bit of exploration, cutting down trees, and getting his resource on. But the southwest zone that he's in is now about to be closed off. We got players moving in, so guess what? Yep, I'm going to do it. Oh, mercy. Let's put on the heat right there. And right now, you know what? It doesn't feel appropriate. I'll tell you what does feel appropriate, and we'll see if it actually kicks over here in just a little bit. But I want to try to herd these people into one big ball if I possibly can. A little bit of crowd management going on, right? That's how it's all about. If I can get these people into one big pile, everything will just get ugly for that moose and the people around it. Let's go over to Beffer now. That's Beffer making a break for the border. I don't know if he's aware of how close he is to X, Y, and Z, but X, Y, and Z may also not be aware of it either. So what difference does it make? You can see how the map will show players are right next to each other, and yet they won't even see each other. This is an incredibly busy map. Look at this. Look at the silliness right here. I think, yeah, now we're seeing each other, and one's got the advantage over the other for sure. Taking up a full swing before the other guy can start crafting, and now battle continues. Right on the border of the good zone, $150 going onto the cankles of that player. Let's move forward. Oh, look at this campfire getting thrown down. So somebody's already worried about their heat, and that is Benny Rain. He's got a low bar on this. Take a look at it, his view. His blue bar is low, but he's got the combat going on, so he can't really risk standing back and getting himself warm. Here he is trying to get himself a heal pack. Yes, he did heal himself up a little bit. Takes a while to apply that heal pack, and so it's a tactically dangerous maneuver to do what he did. But I'll tell you what else is dangerous. Bepper. That guy's got maybe 3 hit points left. If somebody's, like, I don't know, pokes him in the shoulder, he's going to die. Not to mention cold coming into other play. When you freeze, if your blue bar reaches 0, what happens is your hit points will very rapidly kick off, okay? If Bepper's blue bar hits 0, he's as good as dead. End of story when it's all said and done. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Bepper knows exactly what he's doing. He's got the resources to do it, too. But the problem, as I said before, is that once you get injured in this game, it is so hard to heal yourself up. Now, I might be a jerk, but I'm not going to be picking out favorites on this thing. So, flat out, while I could, as a director, I could heal, I could warm. We've got these capabilities. I could throw down electronics. I could do blah, 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 blah. You know what? It just wouldn't be appropriate if I tried to do it because I've got a lot of actual money riding on this with bookies out of Las Vegas. Unfortunately, I'm the only guy who made real bets, so I better win or else I'm screwed. Gonna lose the mortgage in the house. Let's go over to ZQ. ZQ just caught something in the ankles. What's going on with ZQ? Better yet, what's going on with Solbo? Solbo right next on the other side. He and Zeke are gonna tangle. Oh no, Solbo full health and actually getting the damage on Solbo. Solbo, oh wow! Good job by Solbo right there, taking out ZQ. ZQ won the thing. ZQ won that combat. And so he's going to be enjoying some extra prizes on that. How about Benny Rain? Benny Rain whipping around, looking up the love.
You're dead.
But it is really 10-6 that it's getting interesting over here. But it's, you know what? I just can't bring myself to do what I want to do in life. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a tricky thing. I know what we'll do. Let's do one of these. We're going to nuke this area. Because I really don't feel it's appropriate that anybody should be there for a moment. Just for a moment. See, the nuke isn't permanent. If you get caught by the mook, if you get caught by the nuke, you're gonna die. It's an instantaneous thing. But look at the map when it happens, okay? Take a look, actually straight up. Look at this map when it happens. Here's the big piece of what you got right in front of you, all the players and all the information straight up. That nuke in the center tile is gonna go off in 12 seconds. The closing of the eastern tile is going to go off in about a few seconds after that. But what you'll see is that the ball will start to grow and come out. And as a result, we're forcing all of these players out. Any player caught in that green area right there will instantly die. We've got somebody flirting with piranhas over here. Look at the fire getting really close to him there, but he's just on the other side of the border. And so while he may get the flames and the heat, it is not going to be enough to actually wreck him up. Now, everybody on the border means we got some activity happening over here. A little bit of drama, perhaps, on the top of the fence coming down. Look at the slap right there on an aerial attack, catching the player off guard. Benny Ray battling it out in the flames right now with him and Solbo. Did I mention I like Solbo? I've got a thing about this, and it is going to be a victory right there. How about Benny Rain? Up on the top fence, picking himself up the goods. We're down to 3 players, but it's not happy for Beffer as he is still less than 25 hit points away. Combat, however, continuing between Benny Rain and Solbo. Right on the top fence, Benny losing tactical advantage by going the low route, setting up a fire as well. That's troublesome indeed. He's going to pay for that with 275 and then his life. Solbo picks up the win on that. Congratulations. And good work by Solbo. He's going to enjoy the goods, but look at this. Take a look in the background. We got some sneakiness happening over here. Take a look at Beffer. Guy smells a little bit of blood in the water. And you know what? I don't know if I want to get involved in this one. I suppose I could, but I'm just going to stare back from the end as Solbo takes up the win. All it took was the one hit, and that will do it. Good work, everybody. That was round number 2. We're going to be actually having a third final practice round before getting into the tournament itself. This is Jethro Tull. You're watching the Darwin Project at MIGS 17. And of course, that means we're going to have to get back into this next match and do it with some gusto. And yeah, there was 2 practices, but I was told that there's going to be a 3rd practice round. And so after this 3rd practice round, we're going to be having 3 games that are actually tournament matches. Before that starts, we're going to be going over the rules and everything that matters, all about that. Of course, patience being the virtue that it is. And who doesn't like virtue? I'm a virtue kind of guy, as opposed to vice. Booger Time, too much practice. Give some TVs away. Hey, I should talk to Booger Time about that. I have a funny feeling he's got some say. I think the last practice round is for the latest newcomer. These are all the same players throughout, and it's the same players that are going to be in the tournament itself proper. So let's just get into the next match over here and see where things are at. Hopefully this one will start up a bit quicker. Somebody can fire up their 486 and get moving. Rules for placement we're going to go over as well. The players playing in the tournament are the ones you see playing now. There's only 10 players in this tournament. We're going to be going over the rules once the tournament itself starts.
No game, only you and your weapons. The cold
And so in the meantime and in between time, it's just a matter of waiting for these guys to get back in, and life is good. Good game back there, gentlemen. I was surprised to see Zeke getting taken out like that.
If your match is regrouped,
Then again, I'm not really surprised by much anymore. This game goes all over the place.
portion of your screen time at a rate of 5
And that's a 46 SX. You can't afford a DX. You know how expensive that is, Booger Time? It's like $50. You need your mouth code processor. And your 2 megabytes of RAM.
The Darwin
Man, hard drives are like 500 megs.
clear forests of trees for free, and anyone who says otherwise
And yeah, no, just for clarification, there are no developers actually playing in the tournament. Of course not. These are all people who are able to make it and qualify, as well as 2 offsides. And so now it's just waiting for that player number 10. Hopefully this isn't the same guy who's got the computer problems. I would hate to see that. A mix between event people, regular people, and annoying people. Yes. But isn't that kind of the norm everywhere you go?
kill them, and then cherish their memory because they helped you win.
But hopefully we can very quickly finish off this practice round and get into the main show itself. I know I'm anxious for it. And it offers some practice. Now, for what it's worth, one of the things in this game that's kind of fun, and it's something that I think a lot of people don't even realize, because you know, if you don't know, then you would think it would come off as a fluke. But if you swing your axe at the right time when you're either being shot with an arrow or a snowball, you'll basically knock it away. And in the case of a snowball, you'll fire it right back at the other guy. We've seen players sit back at a distance in the waiting room while they're waiting for the game to get started. They'll build a snowball, and they'll huck it at the other guy, and then they'll try to see how many times they can hit it between each other. Last I heard, the record is somewhere around 20. I'm not sure on that particular record, but I think that might be what it is. Either way, we got 17 seconds left to go. Good luck to all players. These are the same group that we're going to see in the tournament that will be happening after this 3rd and final practice round. I would imagine there was some difficulty there with the computer in the last game, so I can understand why we need to do this, and good luck to all of the players. Let's very quickly start off with Dead Pixel, and just like before, we're starting off next to a pair of trees. Everything else is more or less random. Those blue chairs scattered throughout is your main source of leather. Failing that, I believe you're looking at the loot boxes really is your only way to get leather, and the moose. The loot box and the moose are effectively the same thing. They will give you something at random. Might be a couple of leather, might be a couple of arrows, might be a whole bunch of stuff, actually. Let's go over to Quebec. Let's see where Quebec is at. Dead Pixel just had a problem over there. I'm not quite certain what, but given how early it is, I think what may have happened is that he kicked the power cable out of his own computer. The poor, poor man. How about Hitsul? Hitsul looking along here, checking out the cabins. Each of those cabins generally have something good in them. Many cabins have that circular map I talked about earlier where you can actually see what we see here as the director, this content bit right here. And as players are getting close to each other, the drama builds itself up. But right now, they've all got enough space. We're early enough in this game that it's not really making a massive impactor just yet. How about Fleeky? Now, Fleeky put up a decent battle last match, I thought. I think he might be a decent contender over here. But we'll see how things go in this game as it progresses. It's a bit of a change-up having Dead Pixel drop out early like that. So with 9 players left, we got ourselves a lot of space to play with. And right away, we're seeing a potential event happening over here. But Beffer is all aware of it. He just came out of a cabin that had one of those maps in it. And so he's able to do what he needs to do to get himself out of that tactical position. Now just avoiding an arrow came right across his bow on that. I don't think you saw where it's coming from, but we did. Right up top shelf. Now all those stars coming in. There's another electronics coming in. And what a place for the electronics to appear. These two players are battling it out in the background, and a nice knockoff there by Beffer taking it. Well, we got Kobek also involved in the area, but I think we're going to focus on these two over here. It's a nice shot on the arrow there by Vaseline. Missed that on that secondary and then caught up with a snowball of his own. Those snowballs, surprisingly effective weapons in the Darwin project because the environment itself is one of the enemies in the game. You were constantly getting colder. And then, of course, getting an arrow to the skull doesn't help either. 150 health on that didn't actually come into help, and that is going to be the first death of this game. Resources aplenty. Now, let's go take a look at Kobek. One thing you'll notice as you play this game is all of the locations where the electronics are surrounded by a little bit more of a complex environment. You've got to find a way. It's not really a puzzle, but it does take you some time to get in there. That combined with the fact that it takes a while to actually harvest the piece of electronic does make it dangerous. Fleeky right now is in trouble. Let's go take a look at him over here as he is battling it up nicely with Sue. Sue's in trouble right on the water. Coming along. It looks rather nice, the reflections on that water, and he's going to flee in terror, busting himself through the teleport. And we'll see if this goes back and forth. Look at this. It might have been a trap on the other side. Instead, it's just a fireplace. And combat continues as Fleeky looking for an open shot on Sue. Sue is in trouble, though. I don't blame him for running behind the walls and trying to get himself some distance between he and his opponent. He's not going to be able to heal much on this thing, and he's going to have to try to find a health pack if he can. He does not have any in his inventory. Vaseline just died! Why do I have a funny feeling it's lava-related? How about we get Fleeky? Oh, there we go. Death all over the place. Sue just went down, and the harvesting continues as we move back to Kobek. This is the puzzle I was talking about. This piece of electronics just kind of messed up as it goes. And how about we enjoy that piece of electronics? How about Hitsul? Hitsul on the wall. How about Solbo? That was Kobek. We just saw Solbo. Now inside the cabin, he's going to grab himself the other second piece of electronics. And you know what really kind of makes me interested over here is Fleeky hanging out by you-know-what. That offends me in ways I can't tell you. That's right. I just have no choice, so I got to close this down. This is just the way it is. And I really want to bust out some of these other toys over here, but I think I'm going to get special with it once we get into this next round. It really depends on the situation. And I like my situations. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing 6 make a break for it. And look at him. He's 38 seconds away. It'd be a real shame if somebody were to do this. It'd be horrible. Come on. We can do this. Ah, it won't let me. That's a shame. That's a real shame. You won't let your directors have fun. I want to have fun. I want to have fun like Kobek. Kobek bucking around the whole situation here, wrecking those trees up. And very, very close. How about we get seen with Fleeky's at? Fleeky's waiting for it here, and he's looking himself a little bit cold. I don't blame him. Warming himself up, and there we go. You build that fire. You build out, and notice he was doing that inside a tree as well.
Zone is now forbidden. 5 zones remaining.
And so you know what? That's actually a good idea I'm hearing. I like the idea I'm hearing. But you know what I like better? I like seeing things get wacky. How about Kobek? We're going to go back to him because you can see on the map in the bottom left, we've got a little bit of potential efforts going on over here. One of the players tracking the other. Let's take a look at Solbo really quickly while we wait for things to develop and simmer on that side of town. But as it is right now, being so close to that teleport is a good way to try to get out to the other side of the map if you need to. Teleport over to the nearest electronics, or in this case, get out of combat. And then see right away, look at that. He jumped across, and he's planting some love. I don't know if that's going to actually pan out here. We've got the evidence getting scooped up on the other end. Kobak way on the other side, and Fleeky making decisions here. I suppose the role of experience is now kicking in. Let's go take a look at Hitzul. Hitzul put up some decent combat earlier, I thought. But then again, I could be wrong. It might have been just a fluke. But as it stands right now, Hitzul's looking pretty healthy, as are all of the remaining players, actually. It's really only their cold bars that is causing a problem. Here's Fleeky, and he's working his way over again. A little bit of a minor geographical puzzle to try to find that piece of electronics. In this case, it's going to appear at the very top of this building that he's climbing up right now. It's an interesting spot to get sniped, if you don't mind my saying. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, kick, kick, punch, punch. We'll see what happens here as Kobak looking on. Now, if he can connect on this one, he's going to be the champ. Unfortunately, he's in a bad position to actually do it. There's Hitsu. But it's Fleeky that is up top over here, and he knows he's getting sniped on, but Kobak doesn't have that advantage. You want to have the high ground whenever possible. Classic war tactics. Now somebody doesn't know where somebody else is. Here's the Kobak cam. Now notice the campfires. Notice the fact that you can see them from so far away. Now in this particular event, in this round, the weather is such that it's a very clear night. Sometimes you might get a blizzard, sometimes you might get the old Aurora Borealis, which of course is gibberish for northern lights. The weather being different all the time, and in a blizzard it does change up the game, but in this case the change up right now is Fleeky getting jiggy with it on top of Kobak as the two of them trade blows back and forth. Nice strike right there. How about we get Fleeky in on the move? Invisibility does take away the player, but it's just like a trap where you can kind of see him but kind of not. It did work out well enough for him to get a strikeout though. So kudos on the whole tactical situation. Let's go back to the Fleeky cam, and we'll see where he's at with the tracking. Nice legs attempt right there. The arc on the arrow, you'll see, flat out does have that curve. So if you're going to be risky about this thing and take a really long shot like what we just saw, you're going to want to coordinate for that. And just like a regular bow and arrow, you don't have those magical guidances like you get in other games. This is straight up crafting. You get a crappy bow, you got to make your own arrows and hope for the best of what you can do. And look at this, a couple of strikes on the axes on both sides. Fleeky and Kobak going at it. Kobak's in real trouble though, only 100 hit points on him. He is able to respond though, bringing Fleeky down to nothing. And as a result, Kobak is going to heal himself up a little bit by way of his own items that he selected before the game. That will come in handy as we go later on. How about Hitzul? He's warming himself up, and I do believe we just saw a streak. I think he might have made a play for a moose there off in the distance. Now, take a look at the map. The map is set up such that it'll never actually break off two zones in a way where you can't actually see each other. And so right now, what we've got is this one on the west is going to block, and then either that, it is either the northeast or the center tile that's going to go. But look at the center tile. Consider what's happening in the center tile and wonder for yourself whether or not I shouldn't be a jerk about it. I don't know if I should. I kind of want to. But right now, it's just a matter of decision-making time as these players are clustering into themselves. I think what I'm going to do is entice them a little bit. And let's throw down a piece of electronics.
Is now activating an electronic.
So does anybody have the canastas to go after this? This is the real question. We got ZQ making a move for it. We also have, very close, here's Solbo. Looks like he dropped a smoke bomb just a few moments ago. That's why we're seeing that haze right in very close proximity as well. Hitzul, as all of these players are getting involved. Now, this is what I like to see. This is what makes me happy. I'm just going to break situation here for a little bit. Take a look. Here's our blue pipe going straight up to the top here. The beam of light indicating where everybody's at. Combat now going on off in the distance. Solbo just got knocked. It looks like he's going to use a piece of electronics to get to that. And it worked out well for him. He landed it perfect. Smoke bomb going right down there. Let's zoom in on him really quickly. And since everybody's in the mood for a party, let's start the party. I'm going to drop the gravity. And now it's going to get Uncle. Take a look at this. Kobak in the flying going on with an arrow, knocking him back a good distance as we close things off. in terms of the gravity. You're going to see rocks are floating up in the background. The moose start to float away. That's actually pretty damn hilarious now that I think about it. Hopefully we get a chance to see that. But for the next minute and 36 seconds, this is what it is. Jumping around, getting hit, falling off of stuff is all going to be affected by the gravity that's out there. Really changes up the coordination of the algorithms when it comes to the combat. And right now, these players are a fair distance away from each other, I would think. And if I don't think, then I've got issues. Let's go over to Quebec. And let's see what we can do about this. I'm getting requests to nuke the area. That would be dangerous. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to nuke this area. Oh, I can't do that. That's right, too. It's the last zone. I can be a little bit of a harmer monkey, but I suppose it would be a little bit cruel to nuke the only zone you can stay in. Now I really want to nuke the only zone you can stay in. That would be pretty darn sweet. Instead, we just got to deal with this. How about Quebec? He's running for the border, and he's going to make it no problems. But you can see how cold he's getting. That blue bar dropping very, very quickly. First thing he's going to want to do is set up a fire. But notice, he's got no wood. He's got nothing. This is his wood resource right here. He's got squat, so he's got to find himself a tree or an already existing campfire. You'll notice the area has already been cleaned out. And so unless he's got a warm pack, this blue bar here is going to start to shrink to zero once it shrinks. Well, look out. He's going to start losing his hit points rather rapidly. But fortunately for him, he's got enough of that blue left, and he is able to start that fire and keep himself nice and warm. Now, as I said, take a look at how this works when we get things broken. Looking up. Wait, combat's about to bust on through here between these two players. There's Solbo. Yeah, Solbo and Quebec battling it out over one of the few pieces of heat there. And a nice shot right there. Solbo takes him in the belly. Excellent work as we are in our final tile in sudden death. The walls are shrinking, and so are the chances of survival. Solbo taking a strike. He's going to hide behind a tree and craft himself up something. How about Hitzul? I think Hitzul was the one responsible for getting the damage, but look at the high altitude as we start going in towards this makeshift Ewok village. Let's move up to ZQ. ZQ's got himself some tactical right now, and he is right in the middle. We have it all. We are kind of pinned off. We are in a smaller area, and the smaller area is just going to get uglier and uglier for these players. But because of the altitude, because of the shelving, there still affords itself plenty of opportunities to find a way to actually get that last piece of electronics and maybe get yourself out of eyesight of somebody else. Here's Solbo. Solbo taking the damage, and then right back on the other side. Now it's down to the other two. Good jumping strike right there. ZQ now running around as he's got caught off guard. Come back on the other side. Was able to get a solid response, and now it is Hitzul and ZQ. ZQ won the first round, and now the trap is up. These two swinging it up. Good strike right there, and it's going to knock the player right off the top. Jumping right back on the electronics. He missed it. Back on the ground for you, champ. Let's take a look at ZQ. And it would be in his benefit to stay up on that high altitude, but it looks like he's going to risk it, come down, and go after the body. How about Hitzul? Healing himself up. Smart move right there. ZQ's got full hit points. It is Hitzul that has got himself some issues, but the extra 150 means he can take another slap in the butt before he goes down. Hopefully he won't be doing that too much, and ZQ just might get revenged on after the earlier win. Here's the ZQ cam. Full resources, full set on ZQ. He's got straight fives on his axe, his boot, and his shield. And what about Hitzul? Let's see where he's at over here. Is he trying to climb up? Both players, look at that, climbing up higher altitude, trying to find a way to get the lead on each other as this final area has now shrunk itself down to next to nothing. It's going to stay this way till somebody figures something out. There's ZQ getting a strike there. His armor's down. So now he's going to be vulnerable, and that really does come in handy, especially in a situation like this. Get yourself surprised, and the surprise goes no more. Good bump off there. You'll notice the wave coming out like that. Somebody is firing an arrow at the electronics, and that's what happens when you hit the electronics. You strike that, and it's all over. Take a look. ZQ got knocked off again, and ZQ... Oh, my goodness. ZQ's in trouble. Down to 100 hit points. And right on the outside here, he's going to get cold. Fortunately, both of them have full bars on the cold front. It's really the hit points that matter, and ZQ's got to be very careful. Look at this risky move he's going to play right now. He's going to try to get the jump on, perhaps. These players can see each other. That's what tracking does. It kind of ruins things. But look at this smoke bomb coming down. That takes the armor out. Going to knock the player off, and now just wait for it to happen again over here. I'm surprised nobody's gone after the electronics yet. It might be worth a risk if you can actually knock the player off and do it, but really at this point, it's almost academic, as really one more strike on either side is going to be enough to fit the bill. Space closing in ever more here on this final zone. pushing these players ever closer. Here's Hitzul, and he warps himself up out of the distance. We can see the trail, but not the result. Coming in on the other side, ZQ just makes himself a moving target. Smart play on the tactical front. If you don't know where your enemy is, don't sit still for him being a target. Hitzul getting up on the same altitude. That might be a thing that he pays for right there. Is a swing back on the other side. The invisibility almost worked out. Nice strike, broke the armor. ZQ once again crafted and lost his armor, and now has to use those teleport jumps to get himself in. Zeke going across. Nice attempt. Took out the trap, but it is Hitzul who takes it. Excellent work by Hitzul as he takes the win here in this third practice round.
Good game, dude.
Well done, ladies. Up next is the real McCoy. This is Jethro Tull. We'll be right back. Okay, so it's just a matter of the formalities now. We've got ourselves a game number 1 about to come into progress here. And once it does, we will be seeing a little bit of the uppery of how it all comes together. So on that, while we're waiting for this first round to get started, let's maybe explain a little bit of what's happening right in front of you. You will see no points whatsoever in front of these players. Current standings all at 0, and we're going to be doing this the right way. We're going to be doing it Swiss. Swiss League is a point-based tournament, no eliminations. And through all each rounds, the more you kill, the more points you get. Top points get top score. If there's a tie, then they're going to be figuring out the way to do the tiebreaker on that. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll find out. This is Jethro Tull. We'll be right back.
There is not supposed to be any food in the arena. If you find something that appears to be food, please contact a complaint drone.
All right, here we go. This is game number 1
Down, you know there are no masters, no audience.
of a Swiss League tournament.
And the skulls you will break apart.
We're going to be playing 3 games. Each kill you get is going to be worth a point. More points you get, the better your standings. Top standing wins the TV. And really, seeing what we've seen so far, it is going to be too close to call who actually walks away with this one. It's easy to look at just one game and go, okay, ZQ won, he's got the best chance, blah, blah, blah.
That means nothing.
But really, this is all up in the air. I'm really impressed with Solbo's characteristics. I really like Kobek's style of play. I want to see Vaseline not fall into the lava.
Deep down,
Dude, that's not gonna happen.
And I want Sue to kick butt.
That was my practice key.
Oh, you know what, Vaseline? We all know that you just did it to lull us all into a false sense of security. That way we don't think you're going to be a threat, you know?
You know what? Zeke, I think if I'm able to do it again, I'll do it again for you.
Oh, man. You'd be a sweetheart if you did.
I don't even care.
The spirit of the competitor right there.
forge an alliance with another player.
Well, I will say, if there ever was a way to go, I would want to go by skydiving without a parachute into an active volcano. I can't think of a better way to go.
It was the perfect.
And so you did it. You did it there in the game, man. Congratulations.
You'll be forever famous, Vaseline.
But just like before, we're waiting for the 10th player to join in. Once he does, that'll automatically start the timer.
Your children can avenge your death.
And we can get doing this again. Just as a reminder, we are sitting at everybody with no point because there is no point. We are just starting off round number 1 now. Beffer, Dead Pixel, Zeke Q, Vaseline, Hitzul, Kobek, Sue, Fleeky, and Banny we have all seen, gotten to know over the last 3 games. Place your mental bets now. I'm mentally caught, I think, between 3 players. But I get mentally caught easily, so it's not hard. And like before, should these players make a mistake of putting themselves in a bad position, it's going to get ugly. How is it point system based? Every kill you get equals a point, basically. And over the course of 3 rounds, total points is going to determine the winner. Now, if there's a tie, and there very well could be a tie, then the directors, or not the directors rather, but the devs are going to take a look at that, and they're going to go, what are the averages? They've got a rule set down to determine who the winner is. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I've got a funny feeling we are going to see a clean win for somebody, and it may very well be somebody we don't even know. 9 points for second place, 12 for the first, or 1 every kill. The devs there would know the results, and I'm just getting information on that, but my understanding is that 1 kill equals 1 point. But we'll see how things work out over here as we are waiting now for this last player to get in.
Don't forget to fill out your emergency contact form.
And I hope everything worked out well in that last match. I know we had a very early drop. I'm not quite certain what happened with that. But it didn't really have an impact on the major game, so
If you fall into it,
it should be okay. Again with our standings.
pro tip. Running away helps you survive against a stronger player.
Absolutely meaningless at this point, but will be very meaningful later. As well, it should be. And hopefully once these guys are ready to roll, we will roll with them.
The following match is about to begin. Withdrawing from the Darwin project. Nervousness,
All right. Here we go. 20 seconds left before we get ready into round number 1 of a 3-round tournament. Swiss League, the best type you can possibly do. A lot of experience doing Swiss. And, I mean, let's face it. They make the best knives. They like to put holes in their cheese. It makes sense that they would also be responsible for creating the best tournaments. Good luck, players. You're going to need it this time around. Let's start off with Vaseline and see where he's at. Yes, right next to a tree, just like they always are. Starting off next to 2 trees is one of the universal things you can rely on in this game. It's going to be interesting to see how things go over here as we got Banny Rain now. He's on the other side starting off. Similar situation and just everybody scattered about. As a matter of fact, I like the layout this time around. Take a look quickly of the random layout. Everybody's pretty much got the little bit of a zone to themselves. Sometimes you'll see it will be like a whole almost band of players sweeping up along one area. Maybe whole tiles are not doing the thing. But yeah, what can I say? How do we do this here? How about Beffer? I like Beffer. Beffer's a nice guy. I wonder if he can do better than just collecting that. As a matter of fact, I think he can. He's got himself the leather, the loot box, and that map. Now, a good piece of advice straight up. Every time you're in a cabin, check that map. Not necessarily a super important thing in the beginning of the game, but very important as you go through. You'd be surprised how everything looks nice and peaceful. Everything looks absolutely fantastic. Life is amazing. And yet, you are completely sandwiched and not even aware of it. Speaking of which, let's go take a look at Dead Pixel over here, as there might be some potential drama going on between him and one other player. This is Fleeky we're looking at now. And how about Fleeky as he picks up his resources too? Keeping in mind all players as they go about their business, opening up these loot boxes, cutting down these leather chairs, and chopping down those trees. They're going to be leaving behind a lot of evidence behind. And early on, it's not bad, but that evidence stays. It goes on forever. And one other thing to remember is that traps live on without you. How's that for a surprise? Get killed by somebody who's already dead. For those of you who love to lay your traps, might want to think about that. Let's go over to Vaseline again. Now, the man said, and I do believe him, that he doesn't want to fall into lava again. His survival instincts are definitely intact, and so I think that's going to help give him the tools he needs to possibly do better in this tournament. How about Benny Rain? Benny's picking himself up the goods as well as all players. Pretty much more or less avoiding combat right now, and I can't really say I blame him. It's a risky game to get into a fight right away, and sometimes you have to. And sometimes it actually works out. I mean, if you can get an early jump on somebody and shut them down right away, I mean, all the more power to you. You're going to get a bunch of their resources. You're going to free up more of the map for yourself. All of those things are going to come in. But because of the situation of not being able to heal yourself, it does make it a risky play indeed. Let's go over to Beffer. And you can see right now, right off the cop, is combat. And Vaseline taking a piece out of him before knocking him off. Now going after ZQ. A little bit of three-man action going here. A ménage à trois, if you will. That's ZQ missing the arrow. Vaseline just on the other side of it is going to grab himself a dead moose before we move on to Zephyr jumping through the window and taking a look. There you go, that map right there. And that map going to be handy, but combat is coming in really close here right off the top. Zeke and Vaseline bumping our uglies here. We got them bumping around. Jumped it. Oh, man. Okay, so the nice swipe on the axe, but it looks like a ballerina jump right now at this point. Energy showing up in the background, indicating the piece of electronics appearing, and there is our first death. Vaseline is down. Congratulations to ZQ. He coughed up the first victory, or at least the first kill in this game. Hopefully these players will be able to get themselves into one nice little cluster ball so I can start to have fun with them. It seems like a good idea because I got me some powers to play with, damn it, and the points that I've got building up, of course, coming in handy. Now, as the show director, I'm constantly generating points. There's no way to really speed that up. There's nothing that'll happen that'll actually slow it down. But it does make the director more of an involved player as time goes on. But right now, I don't want to get too involved. I got to see how things are looking here. How about Kobek? It looks like he's got an idea what's going on now. Kobek is able to see his opponent because of some sort of tracking. You see the tracking, or the tracked rather, indicator in the bottom. So it doesn't really matter where Fleeky goes. Kobek's going to know exactly where he is, how far he is away, and what he is up to. And of course, that's going to give him an advantage right there. Look at that. He smoked the tree instead of the player. You hit the harder thing to hit. Yeah, I would take it out on that tree, too. That tree's a jerk, man. You totally deserve to kill that tree. Let's go over to Beffer. And how about... No, Beffer is just going to be wandering all about by himself. Kobek off in the distance as well. Still continuing, deciding that Fleeky needs some harassment. And, of course, that campfire not doing too good of a job of helping Fleeky hide. Now getting knocked off the top by an arrow. And how about this? Swinging around, looking for it. Oh, look at second connection. Managed to avoid. And now it's just splitting it open on flat territory. Breaking the armor. Don't matter when you take out the player. Fleeky just went down by Kobek. Good work by Kobek. Here's another piece of electronics going off in the distance. And players are going to try to work their way around it. But look at that. The electronics appeared at the same time that the tile is closed. That does make it risky. The electronics are really handy to get. You want to get them. And if you were actually in the closing off tile at the time, it would actually be a smart idea to do it. You don't need a full minute to traverse an entire tile if you're not messing around and you know what you're doing. Have a general idea of the layout of the land. And if you actually have electronics that can allow you to teleport or jump or otherwise maneuver quickly, then of course that will help out in a very, very big way as well. None of that, though. We got waiting over here, and so nobody's going to be able to touch that electronics. I might say I feel bad about it, except that I don't. How about Dead Pixel? Dead Pixel in a little bit of a pseudo dance off in the distance. 3 players. You got Kobek now, and Kobek, a little bit of a sandwich action happening here, tactically speaking. Take a look. 8, 9, and 4 right there. Now they are a fair distance from each other, so that situation is kind of resolving itself naturally. Let's go take a look at Zeke. Zeke down, out far east. And he's moving in as we move up. Now, I'm starting to feel creative over here, but I'm not really certain in what way I want to feel creative. Maybe... Let's throw down some piece of electronics right smack dab in the middle. Let's see how much we can get these people to gather along, create a big powwow. Maybe they can all hold hands in a circle around the electronics and sing Kumbaya together. One of these things is going to happen, and I don't think it's anything that I just said. Let's go over now to Dead Pixel. Dead Pixel keeping an eye on the situation, taking care of business, as you might say, but his tracking disappeared, and so his situation did as well. Now, the players can't see the name floating over. Again, that's one of the advantages we have as the show director, that beautiful omnipotence of it all. Allows us to see where the players are all the time. But when you don't, you get paranoid fast. And that's one of the joys of this game, is the sensation of not knowing where you are at in relation to your opponents. Getting evidence of where your opponents might be is the best you could possibly do, flat out. And then trying to use it all to the best advantage that he possibly can. As we're looking at Solbo there, narrowly avoiding an arrow to his head as it looked like Benny Rain decided the better of it. And that's another tactical thing you want to think about. If you're tracking somebody, here's Solbo getting a shot on, by the way. Nicely done. 2 in a row on Benny Rain. 225 axe damage is a good thing. And the zone shuts itself down because it wants to be a jerk to these players. So as time is ticking away for the zone itself completely, combat is going to continue. And that is going to be a shot in the butt as Benny Rain decided to flee in terror. And it looks like he'll terror no more. Meanwhile, combat's been going on. Dead Pixel just went down. Things are getting active over here as that piece of electronic I threw in the middle of the map has failed to sucker anybody into doing anything about it. Let's go down to Sue and see what Sue is up to out in the far east part of the planet. 3 arrows coming out of those loot boxes. Those loot boxes, I cannot stress enough. You can, very rarely, you can get a piece of electronics. But it's just not good enough. You want to actually rely on trying to patrol yourself. Get to the electronics if you can manually when they do appear on the map. Get to them first if you can. Another tactic is to not get them at all and just wait for somebody else to go after them. That's a good method to go after somebody. Same goes with the cabins. Setting up the traps right in the cabin doors, especially the more popular cabins that have everything in them. You might want to decide to not go after that loot box and that chair that's inside the cabin and instead throw some traps inside, wait for somebody else to go in. But you can't wait too long. The entire map is shrinking down. We've already lost 2 tiles. And guess what? I think we're just about to lose 1 more. Let's close this off.
Is now closing
and so now we're pushing players out off to the east over here. Let's take a look at Sue View. And he just took a headshot out of blue. This is why you don't want to be sitting around for too long, especially in front of actual good players like this. The headshot coming from a distance, he does not know where it went, and so paranoia mode getting activated. He's going to hit the binders on the invisibility and try to make a break for it. Can't say I blame him. When you're caught in situations like that, the best thing to do sometimes is just run like hell. But again, if you're being tracked, you can only run so much. You're not going to be able to hide. And so run at one point or another, Sue's going to have to make a decision over here about how to best go about this. Looks like the decision's been made. Sue's going to take a first strike. ZQ going after him over here. How about Sue? Jumping over, trying to get the dodge on going on, but he cannot quite seem to get a landing on Zeke. Zeke not even touched yet, and Sue's only got 100 hit points. That's it for Sue. Zeke cleans him out nicely. I believe that is the 2nd kill for Zeke. Here's Solbo. And the loot box is going to give him a smoke bomb. That'll come in handy for later on. You'd be surprised how effective it is when you pull out the ninja move and just disappear out of the blue. Here's Hitzel. And there he is, looking at that map. That map, by the way, is what we see in the bottom left-hand corner. Everybody's death location is on that map, but really, you don't care about the dead. Unless, of course, you haven't looted their bodies yet, in which case you really care about the dead. We've got 1 player here running out of the bad zone. 28 seconds left to go. And so I think I'm going to make it a little bit more interesting for him here. Which way is he going on this? You know what? I'm going to make it even more interesting. We're going to close off this center one.
Closing a zone.
So now we've got a potential to trap some serious players over here. If they don't move quickly, if they should find themselves caught up in combat, maybe they got distracted, crafting, harvesting, whatever it is. That can be dangerous. Now again, you can go into these forbidden areas. You're totally allowed to. The problem is that the temperature is far lower, and campfires don't last as long. So if you're out in a forbidden zone, after it's closed off, that blue bar is going to drop. You can counter it by building a campfire, but the campfire is going to burn out in about 1/3 of the time. It's not going to be enough to save you because it won't warm you up. The campfire, at best, is going to barely make you slightly warmer as it has to counteract against the heat that is being lost by way of being in a forbidden zone. So bottom line, if you're in a forbidden zone, get the hell out. But don't be afraid to use it as a tactical maneuver for short-term gain if you need to. Electronics getting harvested up here very quickly by ZQ as he is making the smart move to get the hell out of dodge before crafting it up. And speaking of crafting it up over here, we got some leather getting harvested by Solbo. Kolbeck Off in the distance. Oh, Kolbeck getting a quick shot on Solbo. And the snowballs coming back on the other side might not be enough for effectiveness. Snowballs don't actually do any damage. They just make it colder. Here's the armor getting wrecked as arrows get the job done. A little bit of a slight miss right there. And this zone is now closed down. So really, these players are being forced to just shuffle around, being herded about by both the director and the game itself as tiles are closing combat in here right now. These players are relatively in deep in this tile, so if they don't resolve combat soon, they're both going to have to take the better part of Valor and get the hell out of there. But so far right now, 3 players in the room. I think I'm going to mess things up just a little bit more. How about we drop some gravity? There we go. So the final tile happening. They've got to get themselves open. All 3 of them are right in the side here. And that's going to be a knockout of 1 player. Look at this. Player 9, because of the gravity, he got sent all the way back in deep. That is a tactical situation right there. Is now he's got to race himself back. He's got 12 seconds to do it. Meanwhile, combat still proceeding here. Solbo doing his business against ZQ. ZQ is yet to get touched on the whole thing. But now take a look at Kolbeck. Kolbeck's in trouble. He's in there in the forbidden zone. He doesn't have much in the way of hit points. And take a look at his blue bar right now. Look how rapidly this is dropping. He's got to solve this problem. He's got to warm himself up as the final tile is not going to be a friendly one, sitting at with 4 players in it. And it does look like one of them is just waiting patiently for it. There he goes, busting out the cloak. That's going to be an arrow kill. Well done. ZQ is on a tear over here. Hasn't taken any damage yet from what I can tell. And I do want to tell ZQ to do better. Look at this guy. So far, not quite in the way it's stoppable. And gravity so far not quite in the way of helpful as the rocks are still floating up. The moose are confused and so are the humans. How about Zeke, though, as he is really playing a strong game number 1. Here's Hitsul. And as sudden death kicks in, as always, our zone's going to shrink in nice and tight. Nice and easy. And it's a matter of who's going to get the jump on who. Who's prepared for this? Who's got the traps? Is somebody going to lay the traps? Are they going to go to the center and try to hold out to the point where you're actually compressed into a small area? And how about ZQ? Nice dodge right there as a jump shot missed it. Smoke bomb goes down and Hitsul is able to get the armor on ZQ. ZQ finally able to take damage over here. Hopefully we can see some more hits go on as Hitsul now looking for his opponent. Look at the jump there, helping him out, getting him that high altitude that he needs to get, and gravity is just coming back into normal, so he used that at the right time. Smoke bombs now causing even more confusion. Let's move over on the other side. ZQ keeping an eye on things, that piece of electronics, and there we go. Got to use those electronics as a tactical boost as well. This is a dangerous area to be in, by the way, because it's lava involved. We've already seen the effects that lava can have on players, and you know what? Oddly enough, they're the same as they are in real life. Don't drink lava. It sucks. And it tastes like rock. It's all chalky and crap. How about Zeke? A little bit of a toss up there. He's not able to get a strike on him, but we got the refreshments going on here. Look at this. 25 seconds remaining before he can use both powers. He gave himself a radar, so he'll be able to see stuff very similar fashion to what the director can for a limited period of time. I don't know if that's actually helping him out too much, though. He just took a strike right there. Now coming back down, Solbo going after him hard. Solbo got the busted on the armor. And now bumping him out of the forbidden zone, trying to push him out. The 2 of them are now pushing on the borders. And look at this, trying to keep ZQ out there. And if you can win by freezing, congratulations. But when you got a situations like this with 3 players, you cannot do anything in terms of sitting down and relaxing on it. And how about we take a look at Kobo? This is great. Hitsul, rather. Racing back, keeping himself warm. ZQ forced in the forbidden zone, man. The guy is living it up in the cold, so we're seeing the problem of the tactics when you're in this area. Now, he knows full well that he can't let that blue bar go down to 0, and a good job right there. Look at that, ZQ. Perfect tactical execution by ZQ. And we've got ourselves a winner of round number 1. Congratulations, ZQ. Taking first, Solbo and Hitsu for second and third, followed by Kolbeck, Sue, Dead Pixel, and all the way down the line. Good work. Let's go on to the next round over here as we get ready for the next match. Once we got points on the board, we'll be happy to share those with you. That'll be punched in right now. And in the meantime, I imagine this next game is about to kick into play. So once that does, we'll go into it, and we should be good to go. So just for the record, that was Zeke Q who won that match on a very creative finishing game that would have made most people chomp at the bit. He stayed in the outside zone. He risked the body temperature in favor of letting the other two players fight, basically, and then just try to sniper him on the inside. Very smart play. It completely paid off, and so he's going to take the first win. Let's see what happens here as we get... Yeah, okay, so they're just marking down the score. And there we go. No, wait. Still coming in. And yes, it is going to be a ranked situation. First place gets you the extra points. But we'll let those powers that be mark down the points they need. And then we'll give you guys a full report on what's going on. This tournament is being hosted on Tournament. That's Toornament. To you, those who can spell. Now you have to learn how to spell it wrong. It's Tournament to you. And we'll be showing you that screen once the numbers pop up. But so far, this is a very strong victory and a good, solid lead for ZQ, taking the very first win in this match. All right, I'm getting reports that the score is done, so why don't we go take a look at where things are at right now. Here it is, ZQ, 16 points, followed by 12 for Solbo, and then working our way down the list, Hitsul and Kobek with 6, followed by the 2s and the 1s. Those numbers, of course, definitely going to be changing as we get ready for round number 2 of this 3-round tournament here at MIGS 17. Big welcome to everybody, both watching in real life out at MIGS, as well as those on the various streams here on TFN and those channels that are broadcasting us. A big hello and a how are you doing? Let's move into the next move right now. How about this? Players are going to get in, and I think we're going to see some changes this time around. I've got a funny feeling the cockiness that is ZQ just might come back to bite him in the butt, and I don't think he's going to get the win on this one. But to have the first victory really does create a good psychological bedrock. And you need that psychological bedrock. You'd be surprised how much of an impact it is, and nobody really realizes this. But when you go against somebody who absolutely wins the game strong like that, they're that much more intimidating to take on. You're more likely to make mistakes. So we'll see if this changes up at all, or if ZQ is able to cough up a second win. The winner of this tournament gets a 50-inch television.
And then you go into lava. I was like, oh my god, yes. That was amazing.
And if you're somebody remote, you're going to have to walk and get it. We will not deliver. And you can't drive. You have to walk on 2 feet. So if you live in Florida, you just got to walk up to Montreal. It'll only take you about a month. But hey, it's good exercise. Get those legs moving. That's what it's all about. And so again, the results here after one game. ZQ and Solbo both sitting on the double digits. But we are far from over. And with 19 seconds left to go in this one, of course, the commensurate good lucks that you really don't mean are going to be blasted out. Bad luck, everybody, because I want to win. But your humble show director right here is just going to sit back and enjoy
Good luck and have fun,
the
guys.
program. Good luck, everybody. We're going to start with Kobek this time around, and as always, starting off next to 2 trees to help them get started with the resources randomly splayed out beyond that. Now, take a look at the overall layout of things. Look at this. It's a nice big circular loop with a nothing right smack dab in the middle. Now, that is interesting. Anybody taking a look at the map right there would know flat out that later on in the game, go to that center tile and grab everything that's in it is basically the rule you want to take. Let's move over to Solbo and see what he's up to, chopping down those trees, building up those resources. Now, so many things take a requirement of both leather and wood to get the job done. You can use the wood to start a campfire. You can use the wood to get your arrows, and then pretty much everything after that is going to cost you. You want to build the armor, and the armor is really, it's frightening how handy the armor is, even though it doesn't sound useful. You put on the armor, it takes 3 wood, 3 leather, and it prevents 1 strike against you. And it doesn't sound like much. The armor breaks after that, and everything goes back to normal. But how many times have we already seen in this game, in this day today, where surprise attacks have made the difference when it comes to combat? Here's an attempted jumping. Solbo misgauging that just by a little bit. He was able to catch the lower rain, though. And speaking of rain, let's take a look at Banny Rain. as he picks himself up the goods as well. First piece of electronics is up, but we got combat going on early here right away. Right next to that electronics, Fleeky is going after it with Sue right now, and the axes are swinging quite neatly as we got to see an early resource happening. There's a dead moose there as well. Basically, whoever takes this first fight is going to be walking away with a nice startup. Presumably, they don't walk away with no hit points, and we just might see that Sue is in trouble. Now Fleeky taking a strike of his own, down to 250 hit points remaining. That's going to be another slap. Fleeky now in real trouble. Is he going to run or no? If you're going to run, man, you're going to want to dodge. Those arrows are not friendly. Last time I was hit by an arrow, I know it hurt. And how about Fleeky? Good response, Fleeky! Yes! Excellent work by Fleeky. Total reversal on the play. He's going to get himself the body and all the goods that come with it. And hopefully he's able to get himself a health pack as well and come back. But he's got that moose, he's got the body, and he has got that piece of electronics. An excellent start after a hard fight for Fleeky. Now let's go down to ZQ as the players are still more or less by themselves. Now there is some potential for drama here between Dead Pixel and Hitzul, but they're not close enough together yet to make it really matter. Coming around, Hitzul making up the noise. Now you may have noticed that there was a red circle that just kind of popped out like that. The red circle is a visual representation of noise being made. Yes, there is tracking in this game, as if you don't already know. And look at that, Hitzul! Oh man, where is Hitzul right now? Did he actually... Yeah, he made it on the ledge, was able to come back out. There are a few things more pleasurable than knocking someone into lava. And that one almost looked like it happened right there, but Hitzul faded back. He may have taken the injury, but he did recover himself rather nicely. People are still at peace over here, and I've got to say, Fleeky, I'm surprised. Looks like he knows to take his time here. And he's just going to grab that time and grab everything he can. I hope he doesn't take too much time, though. You cannot afford to sit back and relax in this tournament. Cutting down the trees is one thing, getting the leather is the other, but then crafting it all and making it into something useful is what you've got to do before you get into these fights. Otherwise, stuff just gets absolutely ugly. Now, how's Beffer doing? Keeping himself warm as we're getting into that phase of the game. Dead Pixel just took a tank. What happened? Yep, that is going to be a win. I think Hitzul got that. Arrow coming out of nowhere, doing the finishing touches on yet another opponent. That's going to be the second death in this game. It was Vaseline I was looking at the time, as he was getting himself to be fairly cold. And there he is. That's perfect right there. You build up the campfire, then you craft every single thing you need. How about Banny Rain? He's in relative peace there, out on the far east. And so he's got some time to almost take his breath. Now, at some point, the computer's going to go, okay, enough of this. We're going to start closing down tiles. And it does so in a random fashion. It may close off the one in the middle. It may close off basically one anywhere. If it does create that one in the middle, though, the donut pattern that occurs does create a more interesting, well, not a more interesting game, but a very different game, or it has the potential to, at the very least. The players are kind of forced to go in a one big loop to reach each other. We got a closed off tile, but let's go over to Hitzul anyway. He's by himself. Here's our geographical puzzle. He's got to find a way to get through, and it's not hard. You got yourself a bridge, but it's that extra time needed to get there, plus the time needed to collect the goods, that can make it a dangerous thing indeed. How about Kobek? Kobek and Fleeky shooting off some long-distance ICBMs at each other, and just like North Korea, can't hit the side of a barn. There we go. Nice pock-off right there. Fleeky takes it in the face. That's 50 points left. And in the Forbidden Zone, the battle continues. Both axes hitting at the same time, knocking them both away, and the arrows finish it off. Fleeky is Dundee. And life goes on. How about Beffer? What is Beffer up to over here? As the players now relatively far apart, except for Vaseline. Combat proceeding now between Vaseline and ZQ. ZQ, the winner of round number 1, the winner of the very first practice round as well. Arguably one of the strongest players in this tournament, but all of the players have demonstrated a spectacular level of skill to play this game. No real stupid mistakes being made, except for the one that I won't name anymore. You know, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, Vaseline. But Beffer here going to take advantage of the situation with the teleport to get himself over, and I'm going to start thinking about what I want to do to start mixing things up, as I'm still packing right now a full set of action points. teleport off in the distance. You can see how it's actually dangerous. Very close over for Beffer. Maybe on the other side of the map, and yet not quite. Beffer could teleport. That would put him back on the other side. 4 and 5. Look at this. Check this out. Hitsul is pretty close to stuff, but it's Vaseline and ZQ that are still doing this death dance over here. Neither one of them have yet been able to get a real strike on each other. Tracking enabled, but not enough to get a tactical advantage, as that tree is proving to be a daunting wall to try to get through.
Yeah, I know.
Zeke on the other side as well.
There's another guy.
Look at this, and a third player is now getting into the party. Enter player 3. This is Hitsul perspective, and Vaseline just went down to Hitsul. So Hitsul making a break for it, but you gotta be careful if he can get a pick off on that. And I don't think he quite did, and Body getting harvested, and Hitsul making a break for it. I don't think he's aware. There we go. Nice slice right there. Catches him in the upper thighs. That's going to come right back. Smoke bomb helping out. That's going to make it very difficult for the arrows to come through. And again, here somebody decided to make a teleport for it all the way to the other side of safety. Combat, I'm sure, will resume here very shortly, though, as the pursuit continues. ZQ hunting down. And Hitsul, I don't know, Hitsul taking chances. See, that's what it is. If you don't know that you're safe, that's what's going to happen. The minute you sit down, you're in trouble. Now, the evidence getting picked up by ZQ is just keeping him in that advantage situation. He knows where his enemy is, and he knows to head after him. And it looks like, look at this, trap right in the cabin. That slowed him down a little bit. Didn't do too much damage, but it did provide a tactical advantage for a brief moment that was not actually taken advantage of. How about Solbo?
Northwest zone is now
Solbo making a move forward up here.
5 zones remaining.
And right on back we go. Banny Rain on the electronics and getting the business done. How about Quebec? Harvesting happening. Building up. Getting ready for the next phase here. We're going to see some more combat breakout pretty quick because we are quickly running out of map. So I wonder what I should be doing with this here. I think I'm just going to settle down for a moment and see where things kind of pile themselves out. There's nobody on the eastern tile. There's kind of no point closing that down. I'd rather let the computer handle it. Electronics going up now. That might create an issue. We've got Beffer right on the side as well as Zeke. I don't know if that's going to work out. You got the big old beam. And that blue beam, by the way, you can see from everywhere in the map. It actually looks like it's a lot closer than it is. This map, quite large and incredibly busy. And the fact that it's so busy is what makes it so interesting. The tactical environments that can occur because of this, the ability to jump through the window like we just saw. We've got deep snow coming through, it slows down your runners, and that creates tracks of its own. As Beffer now in the deep, he might be cloaked, but he's still making noise. As we got a nice shot right there as the cloak was able to get the advantage. ZQ backing off on the play. As we got persistence showing up from Beffer, now waiting for the trap. Right on the door, gets him twice in a row. Zeke's in trouble. Right in the cabin. Beffer going to go in for the strike. He narrowly missed an axe right there. Now jumping out the window, Zeke making a break for it. Can't say I blame him. Looking for open territory and to avoid a couple of arrows. As he looks for a way to get out, can't do it. And Beffer has cleaned out Zeke perfectly, taking no damage with a tile that's going to close in 13 seconds. Unfortunately for him, that's not enough time to be getting himself that electronics, but so be it. I'm sure he's happy with the victory. Meanwhile, let's go take a look here as Benny Rain going up against Quebec. Quebec and Benny are both at full power over here, and a nice even match right there results in an arrow going in, 150 on Benny, followed by a headshot. That's trouble. Benny Rain putting on the invulnerability bubble. That bubble around him, by the way, is one of the things that you can build with a piece of electronics. Makes you invincible, and a nice little bounce off there for a few dangerous moments where you can either try to run for it or go back and make out the kill. Of course, going after somebody with a bubble is purely a tactical decision to make and not one that would result in any real damage to the opponent. Benny Rain's in trouble. We got 3 people running around going after him. Solbo is also involved, but Quebec got it. Now Solbo's there, and the fight for the dead body is now going to proceed. Nice shot right there going on a player as he went up, and Quebec took one as he goes out. He is now down to half hit points, Quebec, and he has decided to exercise the better part of valor, getting himself completely out of there. And falling into lava! Oh, so close! Quebec, you silly bastard. I can't believe you survived that. Oh, man. How about Sobo? Slobo the Schlobo making a break for the border. We got player 10. Look at this guy over here. Kobek is deep in.
Can't believe I survived it either.
Yeah, amazing, man. Absolutely amazing. I'm getting calls to do something funky out of the crowd, so guess what I'm going to do? Oh, I can't close the middle zone because that would actually cut off the two side pieces. So I'm not going to be able to do that. But I am getting some advice from the crowd here on chat. I think I'm going to make a call a variable and bust out this one right here. And make things a little bit interesting for Hitzul as he was making a move for that piece of electronic. Getting calls for a nuke as well. I think a closure is going to be the way to go over here. And instead what we're going to do is nuke this side. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea to me. All right, so now we've got ourselves a tactical problem. As you can see, Hitzul is in deep, and he knows the nuke is on the other side. I just took away his ability to actually teleport, all to the other end and be safe about it. So it looks like he's going to use his own little pocket teleporter that he built with the electronics, and he's going to get himself to the border as quick as he can. But take a look at this. Look at the number 3 player just waiting at the border like a guy coming out of Mexico. This is going to be neat. Solbo looking on the edge here and just waiting for some activity to occur. Oh, yeah. Right on the side. And on the other side of a fence to boot. That zone is now closed. Nice throw out right there. Hitzul looking for the move. Nice pop up. That arrow hitting the wood. You can collect arrows, by the way. Arrows are indestructible in this game. And the nuke going off is going to be safe for everyone to enjoy the sights and not the sounds preceding this battle over here. Hitzul going over the strikes, both of them going after each other. Look at that. He swung the axe exactly at the time that the arrow came and knocked the arrow away. Very hard to do, but it can be done in a headshot. There's our quick teleport. Hitzul getting himself out of there. Got 250 hit points left of the maximum 600 that he's got. And we are in the final zone. And I think it is time to get interesting with this. Let's throw it up.
Gravity storm initiated.
Cannot resist in a situation like this. We got 4 players in one tile with a lot of high altitude. A lot of altitude, a lot of relief in this map. The trees are huge and massive. And so combat, we're talking Crouching Dragon, Sleeping Tiger, or whatever the heck that movie was called, where everybody floats for some reason. Let's go over now to Solbo. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, that's what it's called. So let's crouch our tigers like a hidden dragon and take a look at Kobek in the world of the center tile, which was relatively unmolested for the majority of this round. At the very beginning, it was a big loop all the way around, but hey, what can I say? If you get in there first, you get all the goods. Nice shot right there. Beffer up in the air, just missing out. Hit the light on the back end. As the baseball keeping things interesting. Those baseball lights all around. Nice light indeed. Beffer narrowly missing the shot right there. Beffer, good job. And again, that cloak, not 100% invisible, but you'd be surprised how much of an advantage it does give you. We've seen already how the cloak is able to get in there and be able to strike your opponent. They don't even know you're there, or if they do know you're there, they have a hard time gauging the distance. And yeah, there's a deer off in the distance. Check it, like right there. The deer, the poor deer. And you think that's bad? Wait till gravity kicks back in. You splat all over the place. Deer guts soup. Let's have some Solbo action. Because I like me some Solbo action. As you can see the map here, right in the dead center. All 3 players relatively far apart from each other, but it is right in the middle. This piece of electronics proving to be a bit of a magnet, as players know full well that sudden death zone is going to be something that shrinks ever more. Couple of shots strike there. The long distance makes it so risky. And of course, at this stage of the game, you're pretty much putting your cards on the table. You're saying to the other players, look, this is what I built. These are my tactics. And the sneaking starts to end and the beating starts to happen. Look at Beffer just went down. Hitzul taking us. Oh, wait, that was a strike going on to Kobek, who had tried to go in. It was Hitzul, who's actually pretty injured. And Solbo in a strong advantage here. Full hit points. Looking for arrows. Gets another strike. Kobek now in trouble. Solbo has a very good chance of winning the second round. Coming in around, Kobek wrecks him. Got some armor right there on Solbo. Kobek looking for a swing. Misses it. Kobek goes down. So Hitzul gets a brief heal. And it is him and Solbo remaining. Solbo getting the strike, taking that player away from the body. Go back to the Solbo side of things. tracking, keeping that player in a red outline. You can see all the way through. And now Hitsul. I'm getting calls to heal up players here in the game. I will not do that. This director might be a jerk, but I'm not going to show favoritism. Not in a tournament. Let's go back on this side over here. Hitsul. Nice shot. Solbo takes the win. Round number 2 is done, and Solbo is our winner. Congratulations, Solbo. Full ranking about to get noted down here, and points being updated as Solbo takes the win. ZQ all the way down to 6th place in that match. That's going to change things up bigly once we get into the actual point tallies. Stand by and we'll get that to you. This is Jethro Tull. Should get some quick points here racked up soon and see where things stand. Now that was Solbo who won the last round, and he got 2nd place last time. So we'll see how things work out here with the points when it's all said and done. Next time, instant Blanc the center. You think I should close off the center tile right away? As the director, I've got to wait for the action points to build up. And I need, I believe it's 3 to close off a zone. And I don't think Booger Time is being punny when he says it's a nice roundabout game to do that. Points are now tallying up here on the tournament site. And we're just waiting for those to come in. Once I get the go-ahead that those are the final tallies, we will show you where things stand. But may I just say right now, it is brewing up to be something interesting right off the top.
Death is not a disease.
Numbers still coming down while we wait for players to come in. And it looks like we're actually building up to a tie here for the first place. Once all the numbers are in, I will report. And hopefully things are going to be okay in that department. All right, let's take a look at where things are at. Now look at this.
There is not supposed to be
18 apiece going on right now between ZQ and Hitsul going into the 3rd and final round. Kolbeck is right in behind with 15, followed by Benny Rain and Sobel with 14. Good chances for all 5 players to get themselves into first place. Slight advantage, of course, obviously going to the top stuff, but we will see how things work out here. It might be a total surprise. Fleeky, Sue, and Dead Pixel could come out of nowhere and just destroy. You get a bunch of points for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place in the individual match, and then an additional point for kills. And this is where we are sitting here while we wait for player 10 to get in to start off this 3rd round.
Tiebreaker with Itzel.
Hitsul? Oh,
Yeah.
where is
Itzel
Solbo
is
then?
18.
Oh, I was just told that this is not actually the final digits. Okay, now we're looking at something a little bit more serious. Solbo is actually first place with 25 points. Hitzul and ZQ in behind with 18, followed by Kobek. We're starting to see a little bit of a breakaway here in terms of the situation. And Solbo, so far so snazzy. Got himself a chance to win that television set. Hopefully these players are going to be good to ride the lightning here as we get ready for the 3rd and final round. I imagine Solbo, Zeke, and Hitsul, Kobek. A little bit nervous right now, perhaps a little bit of sweat on the palms. As this 3rd and final round is for all the onions.
Alright, everybody go for Solbo. Like, rush him. Like, bum rushing, go.
Hey, you don't kill me, okay? You don't kill me.
You can see some early tactics going on over here.
I mean,
Now the thing is that you don't know who you're going after when you fight until you kill them, kind of thing. So good luck for that.
Everybody go to the center.
Come for me.
Everybody to the
Everybody
center.
to the center.
Just come
Go
for
to
me.
the center.
All right, here he goes. Let's get ready to bump on over. Third and final round. Good luck, players. We're going to start this one on the Solbo cam, as he is right now currently in first place in this tournament. ZQ in second and Hitzul both with 18 points under Solbo's 25. This is round number 3, the third and final round. Getting calls for Dead Pixel fans. They want to make it happen. Dead Pixel's got to come back. It sounded to me like he was an early favorite in the match, but as it stands right now, he's only packing 2 points. He's going to have to really kick everyone's butt and do it in such a way that he gets more points than he can get in 2 games. But you know what, man? I'm here for you. Both mentally, spiritually, but not physically, because that would be weird. How about Benny Rain? See Benny Rain bumping along here on this Ewok village. And he missed out on the goods. You gotta hate it when that happens. But as always, people generally start off with some peace at the very beginning. Not so much here. Look at this. Solbo just finished off Fleeky early on. Solbo basically made a run for it, taking out the opponent early. Now, he's not going to get much there, but you know what? It doesn't matter. He wiped off somebody from the planet, and he's got full health walking away from it. It's a win-win situation. He just opened up the tile for himself totally. There he is, bottom right-hand corner, number 5, all by his itty-bitty lonesome. So not only has he got himself that open space and a ton of resources, but he's got a lot of time to do something with those resources. When he comes back into the fight, he is going to be a threat. Let's go take a look at Benny Rain here. And he knew he was going to... Oh, I knew he was going to be in trouble. Getting an arrow in the butt doesn't help, and he had to let that loot box go. There's Zeke on the back end. And we'll pick up that as we got the leather gathering and the swinging of the axe. Nice knockoff, by the way, threw the player right down to the basement. And now going after him, finishing off the arrows, picking up those arrows. And now getting ready to take him on here is Benny Rain. Swinging back for the play. A little bit of a casual move over here. Benny Rain not moving too quick. He doesn't have too much in the way of his own augments happening just yet in this early phase of the game. ZQ finishing him off. And ZQ managing to do that with a minimum of damage dealt to him. Let's go over quickly now as things are really moving quick. This is Beffer. And Beffer and Sue are a little bit too close together for comfort. Or is that Kobek? I do believe it is Kobek. Here's the Kobek side of things. You see Beffer way off in the distance, relatively speaking, as these players still trying to maneuver their way around through the early part of the game. But wow, is it ever changing up quickly. I think we're going to close the zone. I think that seems like the right thing to do, but I'm not sure what to do about that. I think... Ooh, new electronics are available. They're all happening on the border. There's a number of places where the electronics can appear. They're always set locations because of that geographical thing I told you about and the importance thereof. And it looks like the two that are up are on the border themselves. So it's kind of hard to maneuver a way around this. We've got a player getting cold over here. Look at the frost kind of forming around the edge. That's the straight up indicator of the blue bar right down here, letting the player know that things are where they're at. As a reminder, Solbo is in first place with ZQ and Hitzul in second, tied for 18 apiece, followed by Kobek with 15. Nice combat right there with an arrow to the belly, followed up by a missed axe. More axes going up to nowhere as the arrow is becoming more of a factor here in combat. They've really done a great job with the axe fighting, or the arrow fighting in this game. It's hard to find a game where arrow combat is legitimately fun, but they found it in the Darwin project. There's Beffer taking it in the face. And Hitzul is going to get the win. Go back to Kobek.
A new electronic is available.
As things go briefly into peace. How about Sue? Sue's looking okay. He's got himself a level 4 axe there. A bunch of arrows. And that turret, that's his F key. He can plant down an actual device that'll shoot anything around him by clicking on that. You build that by way of the electronics, and yes, that's one of those things that really helps out. Making turrets all over the place, getting business done for you. Why do you gotta fight when you can make something else fight for you, right? Get the whole robotic army going on. Alright, our first zone is drop in, bottom right-hand side, that's the east side. You can see the orange forming up on the corner, and really not much of a threat to anybody. And it's a good opportunity. You know, we got the 47 seconds. Nothing is wrong with the zone until it actually times out, except for this red border and the constant warning that you better avoid it. But by and large, you know, if you can't find yourself caught in a zone like this, there's nothing wrong with dipping in and, oh, I don't know, maybe crafting a bunch of things, maybe grabbing a bunch of resources if you can, because let's face it, nobody wants to go back into a zone once it's closed. And so if you're the kind of guy who's cognizant of the amount of evidence he's leaving behind, well, then just like that, you got yourself some safety happening. You hide your tracks. No one's going to see you. Let's go to Hitzul. Good job. Kobek is done. Now that changes things up. That was rank 4 player Kobek. He had 15 points in this tournament for 4th place so far. Of course, that's going to change as things move on. Hitzul in 2nd place.
A new electronic
Is still alive and in the party. Let's not forget about Zeke Q. Zeke Q also in 2nd place, tied at 18 with Hitzul. Things are kind of calming down somewhat. Let's go take a look at Sue. It looks like he's going to be jumping through a teleport here right away. And in doing that, in order to avoid Solbo, it looks like he's in pursuit. Or perhaps is content just to chase off his adversary and then go off elsewhere. Lot O tactics going on here. Let's take a look at Dead Pixel. We haven't seen much Dead Pixel lately. And Dead Pixel's going to have to be careful. Here's Vaseline. Shot just missed. If you're going to strike, make sure you hit. Dead Pixel now aware something is going on, but doesn't know from when or what. And there he is. They can see each other. The trap coming into play. Look at that. The trap catching the player. Vaseline teleported himself out. You can see the trap is still on him, but that pinned him down. It did damage, and it forced him to take a couple of shots. Vaseline, excellent thinking right there to get out of dodge right away before things got too ugly for him. He is still in the game, albeit very wounded, down to 200 hit points. But he did the right thing right there. And may I say, excellent tactics, keeping the combat closed in that one area for making a break for it with that trap. Let's go to Hitzul. Hitzul's in relative safety over here, south side of the map. And collecting up all of the goods. We got ourselves another electronics coming up, northwest side. And it looks like we got a lot of activity going on here, so I'm going to get a little bit interesting. I think what I'll do is close this.
The show director is now closing a zone.
Can I nuke this too? Yeah, I think I can. There we go. Alright, so everybody go towards the nukes. That's my suggestion. I want to see melting faces, and I want to see them now. Instead, let's go over to Dead Pixel. Dead Pixel off in the distance. And it looks like he's going to make a break for the border over here on that teleport, get himself directly on the other side. Every single tile has that little dot around the edge of it. You go towards that, you beam yourself perpendicular on the other side. But Vaseline got himself out of there, played it very smart, and he managed to heal himself up as well. Health pack coming in handy and all the harvesting to make a big difference. Let's go back to Zeke. Good slap on the tree there as he is getting a little bit colder, getting into the mid-game phase now. As the nukes are up, and we all know it, clap your hands. Oh, right, I can't close off the middle one. You saw what I was trying to do there, didn't you? All right, we got a player who's in trouble, Zeke. Now, if Zeke starts taking unnecessary damage, I'm going to be mocking him openly. I don't think he will, though. He's right at the borderline. He's going to have to build up that fire. And he better build it soon. As once he starts taking damage, it's hard to heal up, and that would be a bad waste of hit points, if you don't mind my saying. And it looks like everything is going to be A-okay with him. Meanwhile, let's go over to Vaseline. Vaseline choosing to exercise superior tactics early on. Looks like this guy means business. We got a little bit of activity happening, a little bit higher altitude. Take a look at this. Here's Sue, and here's Vaseline. I don't even think they're aware of how close they are together. And they are starting to make some distance away from each other, so that might not be a big deal. Or maybe it will. Here comes Sue. A boy named Sue. Nice shot, just missed him. Sue looking to get the hell out of the way of Hallentown. What about Vaseline, though? He threw down a couple of arrows, and now the smoke bomb make himself a harder target and got himself out of there. So Vaseline making good use of the one electronics that he's got to pop himself well out of the way. Here's Zeke. Picking up the gas on the leather. And he's doing good. He's got enough here. He's got his armor. He's got a maxed out axe. He's got a maxed out coat. And he's just building up his boots over here, give himself this extra advantage when the combat does come down to it. We are running out of tiles now, with really only 3 remaining. And so it's incumbent upon me, I feel. Oh, I want to close that one off because we got things happening over here. But instead, we're going to close this one off instead. And so now, combat, right in the middle of the ugly. We've got 3 players in this zone. Combat proceeding. Headshots going on. Look at this. Couple of deaths popping up out of nowhere. Solbo just killed Hizul. And now ZQ is going after the body. Let's go Sue. Oh, Sue is in trouble. 3 arrows in a row. Yeah, no. Okay, so that, you know, getting down to heal yourself up is so vital, those moments. In a lot of cases, you're better off just fighting or flighting. Get yourself out of there or get yourself into real combat because it takes those vital seconds to try to get the heal on. You're better off dodging. How about Solbo? With 18 seconds left. He is in a little bit of a weird position, but close enough to safety that he's not going to have to worry about it too much. It'd sure be a crying shame if we were to drop the gravity, but I think we're just going to hang on to this for just a moment. I'm getting calls from the crowd to nuke the middle. However, I've already used up the nuke for this round. You can see my options right there. I can close off and I can bust the gravity. Actually, I can't close off. I've already closed off 2 tiles, and that's okay because we've only got 2 tiles left. It looks like most of them are compressing themselves into the one. How about we go over to Solbo now? And look at this. This is interesting. ZQ is going to make a break for it. ZQ is going to make a break for it. Look at this guy. I wonder if he's actually going to pull it off. That's the question. He's got 46 seconds to do it. He just gave himself a stamina boost or speed boost. He's going to get there faster. But look at the seconds while away while he has to waste seconds getting this thing. Not too big of a deal, but he doesn't have the ability to teleport himself out. And it looks like he's going to panic about it. He took in all that effort to get it. Now is he going to be able to get out? Yeah, okay, smart move. He got the electronics. He crafted himself a teleport. Looks like he saw the value of it, but really that's a great idea, building up that teleport. In my mind, the teleport is one of the more interesting powers in this game, and you've really seen it in full showcase today. Vaseline giving you an example of the best and the worst of it, really, in a textbook environment. We got death on our hands. Dead Pixel just went down, and so now it is down to Solbo and ZQ. As a reminder, Solbo is in first place, ZQ is in second. So I think it's safe to say whoever wins this just might win the entire tournament, although we won't know for sure until the points are tallied up at the end of the round. Final electronics going up in the final tile. And I don't want to drop the gravity. You know what? I think I'm just going to let men be men this time and see how well they can take on each other here in this final environment. And there's ZQ making some preparations as he seems to know that he's got an advantage on position. Going back over to Solbo now. Here's Solbo on the back end. Racing around and looking for the love as he knows full well where the traps are. That's the power given to him by the item that he created with the electronics. I believe that is called the Predator. But really it's a radar. And with that he can basically walk out through all the traps and all the good for him. Oh, just missed it over his head. You were at point blank, Zeke. Now is not the time to panic and make some mistakes. Zeke and Solbo right there, and Zeke is just wrecking him with arrows but unable to make a connection. Solbo came back though. That's going to take the armor away, and right away ZQ refashioning the armor. Got a lot of himself of spare resources. It got taken away again. Zeke now backing off and in trouble over here. Look at this. Solbo off in the distance. Let's take a look at it from Solbo's side. As Zeke now out on the outer perimeter. You can see the walls coming in ever closer. It's going to be an impactor for sure. As we got Zeke running along the border, just narrowly avoiding the arrows. Another armor for Zeke, keeping himself up on that tactical advantage for the brief moments that he can avoid strikes. Knocking off the back. And our final zone is now nothing but a small ball of space. Solbo and ZQ littering the environment with nothing but traps everywhere. And it's a matter of avoiding them. That patrol radar, rather, is going to actually really help out, and it has helped him out. Nice strike, 150 damage. Zeke now down to half. Solbo fully health, and Zeke getting himself out of the way. I wonder if Zeke doesn't look like he's got himself a healing mech, and he just took on another arrow. Bouncing himself away. That arrow actually hit the electronics, so he's still floating at half points. 300 out of the maximum 600. Solbo maybe on lower altitude, but he definitely has an advantage up on the other side, picking up the arrows and the hit points on his... Nope, maybe not. Missed it. I don't think Zeke has been... There we go! Solbo takes the win!
Good game.
Congratulations, Solbo. You have won the game, and you were first place. However, we're going to have to wait here just a moment as the scores get marked down. And we will know who won this television set.
Congrats, dude.
Vaseline, Fleeky, Sue, Dead Pixel, Benny Rain, Beffer, Kobek, Hitzul, ZQ, and Solbo. All winners in my mind, because I want to make you feel good about yourself. But in reality, we've only got one winner, and I think we're going to know who it is. I'm just waiting for final info. And then we can see where the heck everything stands. Hang on just a brief moment as the moderators in the back confirm and punch in the appropriate results. That was the end of the third round of a 3-game tournament. All 10 players played all 3 rounds in a Swiss bracket environment. That was a point-based system. No elimination, no rotation. Just straight up, the better you do, the better you do. And let's do better. Solbo, in first place. Definitely won this game. Looks like he won the tournament. We don't know for sure. Until on the back end. Dead Pixel, I thought, had a really good game. And Vaseline, I think, wins the award for the best tactical maneuver we've seen in an actual tournament. Being able to, like, he got caught. If you don't recall, he's battling it out with another player. Another player had the wherewithal to throw down a trap right next to the tree where they were fighting around and circling around. Vaseline got caught in there. He took a couple of axes to the belly, and instead of having to fight it out and wait for the inevitable, really, he just used his teleport. That wonderful little item that he made from the electronics that he got earlier. He knew it was coming, and he got himself the hell out of there very quickly. And that allowed him to come back and fight for another day. And that's the thing. A lot of players will get into a mentality of straight up predator. And you can't do that in this game. If the other player can set up the traps, if the other player knows the area well, maybe lays out the layout in such a way that they can put you in a position where they can get you near the lava. They can get you off a cliff. They can punch you into the teleport. Or if it's low gravity, like we saw, where one player was flying in the air, took an arrow and went sailing deep into the ugly. Well, what can I say? There's a number of ways to skin the cat. And speaking of cats, this one's skunned. Let's go take a look. We've got ourselves a winner. Congratulations, Solbo. 41 points total victory. You've got yourself a television set, my friend. Add that to your television set collection that you keep in your basement by the library. ZQ gets second place with 30. Hitzul on 22 and Kobek with 16. Dead Pixel, Beffer, Sue, Vaseline, Benny Rain, and Fleeky have all put in solid efforts to get this thing done. All players, veterans to the whole situation that we like to call this tournament. MIGS 17, the Darwin project, really proving itself to be a good contender in a competitive esports environment. That's what I like to see right there, and I do believe that will do it for me. Again, congratulations, Solbo, ZQ, Hitzul, and Kobek. Really, in my mind, you guys are the main winners. You guys are what it's all about, and you guys get my love. I am out of here, ladies. Good watching you play. I'm looking forward to doing this again. I do believe there's something going on here on Friday. Just waiting for final instructions before we wrap up this program. Again, congratulations, Solbo. You've got it, and I don't. This is Jethro Tull. Until then, We'll see you then.
Someday, I'm going to build a plane that will be just like a bird.
But like since Solbo was so high in the ranking, I tried to like go for him, but unfortunately he killed me with some good arrow shot.
You're the best, man. You're the best. The second one, we don't have it. We don't have him here. I think he's in the UK or Sweden. Oh, he changed places. He was from UK earlier. He's Swedish, but he was in UK. All right, so. And we got a big winner. Yeah, Slobo.
Pretty good, pretty good. That's the first ever Darwin Project tournament, and I'm pretty happy to have won it. I never won anything in video games, so I'm pretty happy right now.
And I think you're winning a prize, if I'm not mistaken. Did you know that?
I think I knew, yeah.
You win a brand new car. No. It's gonna be a 50-inch TV though, LED TV.
Pretty good. I don't know how am I gonna take it back home in the subway, but it's gonna be fun.
I think we're gonna find a way to deliver it to your home or something else. I don't know. Maybe Scavenger's gonna. A big round of applause to Scavenger Studios, which did the tournament. It was really great. We got Smo to thanks to. Yeah. Keep applauding. Yeah. We got Lotto Quebec, which was the host for the stage, and we got the MIGS, of course. Thanks a lot. The tournament results were powered by Tournament. If you want to have a free tournament platform, you can go to their website. My name was Alex. Thanks a lot, guys. It was a really good match. Thanks a lot at home, and see you tomorrow. Bye.